They're coming around again.
Do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, g'day, folks. Happy Australia Day to you, regardless of where you are in Australia or around the world. Celebrating our great day is just something we love to do, and very happy that you can share it with us today. We are endeavouring to get all around the country, but we're a little limited in that there are only so many people who have the link to get into our live stream, and well, we'll share that a little later. If you're at an event and you'd like to share with us, that would be absolutely awesome. I'm going to bring up Melbourne to begin with. Tony is our man in Melbourne at the moment. He's currently giving us pictures of the clouds. They're weird-looking clouds because the Roulettes are putting on a display as we look over the Yarra River off the Princess Bridge and back down to the MCG and the National Tennis Centre, which is over on the right-hand side, just out of shot. But the Roulettes have come in. They're putting in a display over the whole Parklands area there at the moment, by the look of it. Tony's been in Melbourne at Flinders Street Station at the gathering point for today's March for Australia there. There are, a couple of thousand people milling around trying to stay out of the sun. The heat in Melbourne at the moment is definitely the big issue, and I imagine most people are trying to stay under a tree or under an umbrella, or looking potentially for a little bit of respite in the Yarra River. It doesn't look too bad today. I've seen the Yarra not look terribly inviting at all, but today she's really turned it on. Melbourne looking and feeling its best today by the sound of it. You can hear the Roulettes. There they are in the background, doing their air show over the Parkland area there. Nobody that we knew was expecting the Roulettes in town today. So is today, I think it's only the midweek of the Tennis Open, isn't it? The Australian Open. Usually they normally turn up for the finals or something like that, doing a bit of an event. And an aerial display over the top of centre court at the Rod Laver Arena would be interesting, because you're basically looking out a hole the size of a postage stamp at the sky, and their show takes up a bit more size than a postage stamp in the sky. So anyway, it'll be an interesting look for everybody else in the open courts area out there, keeping everybody entertained. Tony, we might get you to wander back down to where everybody is marshalling for the Melbourne event. And we'll bring up Sydney and have a little bit of a look there. Thanks to Chris Goveries, we're tapping in on his program at the moment, and you can see him wandering around, catching up with there are quite a few people milling around in Sydney looking for the parade. We might just listen into who he's talking to.
Okay, Christ is king.
Yeah, very true.
Chris Goveries, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, mate. Mitchell.
Hey, Mitchell.
William, good to meet you.
Hey, William. Tell us why we come. Hudson. Okay, mate. Tell us why we come today.
Because Christ is king. King of Australia. Likewise. Yeah. And Our Lady is queen. Pray the rosary for Australia. Every day. 15 mysteries every day. 15 mysteries every day, exactly. Precisely. 15 mysteries every day. Watch us pray. Yeah. Want to love our country. As Catholics, patriotism is a virtue. It's part of the fourth commandment, so we have to love our parents, and that means also our country. Yeah. Yes. That's right.
Love it. Thank you, gents. I'll leave it. Anything else you want to say?
Christ is king.
Discoveries. See you later. Let it go. Sound off. Bye. Thank you. Hello. Hello, Sasha. Tell us why you become Sasha. Oh, hold on. Oh, tell us. Quick one. Tell me.
Just of the mass migration,
Yep.
but also to unite the people.
Thank
As long as they love our culture and our way of life and our people, they're welcome.
Thank you, Sasha. I got a like moth to a flame. We're gonna. How are you staying cool in there? Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Tell us about your. I've never been confronted with this. Well, what is this? Tell us, why have you inflated yourself to such proportions?
Just for attention.
To the cause of
Mass immigration.
Yep.
Yep. You're against mass immigration.
You're against mass immigration.
Yes.
What about remigration?
Remigration? Yeah.
You heard that before?
No.
Malcolm Roberts had a great speech about this. He said, take the people who aren't fitting in, who don't want to be here, who aren't contributing, send them home.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yep.
If we have agreed that immigration is bad, it seems that whatever we've done with immigration in the past years, some say more, right? Let's just say the last year. If we have agreed that that's bad, then why should the people who aren't fitting in, aren't contributing, say it didn't work out? That's okay.
Yep. That's it.
Remigration?
Remigration.
Save our nation?
That's it.
Ah,
Remigration, save our nation.
Yeah. Oh, no, I got from journalist to talent. Okay. Can I get a lovely photo of could I get a I think I can crowd a few people around for a lovely join, anyone with a flag join. I want a lovely photo. Could I get send them some join our lovely whatever this is, anyone? Excuse me, sir. If you can join this for a photo. Anyone who wants to join for a photo? No one joining for a photo? Please. We've got 3 people wanting to join for a photo. Can you hop out? When I say go, just get the arms out for me. Just go like, ah! Yeah, go in. More flags. Anyone with flags, go in.
I can go behind them if you want.
Yes. Oh, isn't that remarkable? What a time for an SD card error. What a time for an SD card error, don't you?
The dreaded SD card error. I always find that to be problematic. One. Back to Melbourne. See if we can get this a bigger version.
I bought 2 drinks for you two guys.
Sorry, mate.
I don't know, maybe there might be some other questions you want to ask. Yeah. Do you want to tell them what, or do you have to be
So, just curious, we're asking people as well, what is your main source of political media that you
I've been in this game a long time. Back in the 80s, when you were involved, you realised the mainstream media would fabricate and invent. When you're actually there, I was involved with One Nation, as you may have noticed. I've been to interviews with Hanson, where the question's been asked, and you've cut and pasted and put another answer to the question, and you think, wow, is this free democracy?
Yeah.
Being honest, no.
Yeah.
So I've little or no respect for media.
Right. So, what would you say your main source of media, though? Even if the ones that you don't respect, what's your main source that you...
Look, I get to watch the ABC a little bit.
Yep.
Anyone who's fair income knows they're pretty biased. The other, Channel 9, Channel 7 maybe. Yeah. I don't bother with the internet.
So you kind of use all of those mainstream media sources and then decipher through it yourself, use critical thinking.
Oh, look,
from there?
No.
No?
It's
How would you do it?
It is very obvious that we've got problems. It's called multiculturalism. We never voted for it.
You think multiculturalism is a problem?
Well, we just saw up in Sydney. You have two varieties of people who don't like each other. That problem was never in this country 40 years ago.
Who's the variety of people, sir?
We're talking Palestinian supporters, which is generally left-wing people, and possibly Jewish people. This stuff comes from the Middle East. We've imported this problem. Everyone knows it. But we are the ones who mock it. Freedom of speech, gun ownership. People know that people kill people, not guns.
Very good. I like that. I might leave it on that. I appreciate it.
So do you think that's the whole gun law thing is to disarm the Australian people?
You can only speculate, mate.
Sorry?
You can only speculate on that.
No, the rat.
Well, that's the Australian roulette's doing their thing above Melbourne City at the moment.
Yeah.
Got a few people there, Tony. Thanks for your work today, mate. What you're doing, being our stringer, our one and only Melbourne stringer. And God, the K's you travel for us. Thank you.
Do you want me to ask you any more questions?
There to celebrate. We're going to get that march going shortly. So it's my understanding, folks, that the Melbourne March will begin here at Flinders Street Station. And we'll be going
It looks like that march is going.
There we go. They're starting.
Looks like that march is moving.
So interesting, mate. You're walking up Flinders Street there. What's the plan? Up Flinders Street to Elizabeth Street, maybe, and then Burke Street up to or Collins Street up to the Parliament House.
I'd say so. I'd say that's going to be the path.
Oh, yeah. But we're just going to make sure it gets forward, though.
It's an interesting path. I guess you're not blocking Constant Street trams that way. Although there will be a bit of disruption to the tram network. There are a number of thousands of people wandering around the streets of Melbourne as we speak. And in Sydney at the moment, just having a look at Discovery's coverage, he's still chatting with a few people in the park while they're getting things organised there. I'm looking to see what feeds are coming available from Gold Coast and Brisbane, which should be getting underway in the next 30 minutes or so. So looks like the marches are starting to move off there in Melbourne, and in Sydney, I would imagine very shortly. As I was saying, Brisbane and Gold Coast events, I haven't been able to get a live streamer out of there at the moment. The people that I thought were going have decided not to go. It is a stinking hot day in Queensland, as it is in many other places. And many Aussies might decide to stay close to the fridge, the beer and the pool today rather than going out and getting burnt to a crisp. In what would be a truly Australia Day and iconic Australian thing to go and do. Pete, you raise a very good question. Who is on your Australia Day honours list? Tell them thank you. So Pete sent both myself and Vince a marvellous text this morning thanking us and saying that we were on his Australia Day honours list. It gave us an idea, which we will hopefully progress further for Australia Day next year. But wouldn't it be great to have a true honours list of people who are really doing good things for Australia? So, Pete, we'll be talking to you further about your great idea, and I think it's a marvellous initiative. So, folks, you can do this. Who do you feel in your sphere, in the people you know, who makes Australia Australia? Who is, great Aussie blood? Who is, empowering the Aussie spirit? Send them a text that says, congratulations, you're on my Australia Day honours list, which is much more important than the Masonic one that gets handed around on days like today. But that's just my thoughts. So pictures there from Melbourne. Let's just bring up Sydney. Chris is moving off, catching up. Oh, there's Beck. Where's our audio? See if we can get some audio from Beck.
Where's the commander?
Our inspectors are, well, they were over there, but we can relay the message.
I just want to know if you're first to go. Where's Mayor? Where's Steggles? I'm going to go back to the crowd.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have an audio link to Chris. Otherwise, I would have asked him to step around and see if he can get a chat with Beck, because she's pretty busy at the moment too, organising things by the sound of it. And Chris looks like he's trying to organise or help organise a few people into places as well. Rather interesting brown paper bag, or not quite.
We're missing Mayor today.
Oh my Lord, I've missed that whole rainbow thing.
They don't know.
Yeah. Oof. So it looks like the Sydney March is still being organised. By the look of it, nobody's allowed to walk on the rainbow path.
Police need Senior Sergeant Mayor back, because he was a brilliant liaison. Where's the excellent liaisons to try and help make this happen?
two.
Excellent. Really good rollout in Sydney, and it sounds like the police are finally getting their crap together so that the march can get away. 16 degrees Fahrenheit in Oklahoma. That's -8 degrees to you and me, people. Well, Gay, I hope you are keeping warm and that you have the fires burning. Or maybe not fires. Maybe you're lucky enough to have one of those gas-heated floor things. In your part of the world, you'd want that. Yeah, please stay warm, as Anne Penny has said. Take care. That cold outside, there's probably 25 feet of snow at the front door as well, is there? Could be rather unpleasant. Pete just says, I've just stopped work in 40-degree heat. I hope the cold doesn't have any wind with it. Yeah, that certainly would drop the chill factor down for sure. So it looks like Sydney is starting to get on the move, and you can see in the bottom left there that Melbourne is also on the move. Tony is catching up with them. As I was saying before, trying to get the feed out of Brisbane and the Gold Coast. I have sent a link to somebody that I know is at the Gold Coast event. He hasn't dialed in yet, so there may not be too much happening at the gathering point at this stage. And I'm not even sure where the march on the Gold Coast is marching to. It may just be an event that stays at the park well, I guess it's on the border of Surfers Paradise and Main Beach. So easy to get to the beach after you've attended that one, put it that way. Get over and get into the shade, by which time 1 o'clock, usually the beaches are in shade, and the high-rise shade, that is, and it's quite nice getting out for a swim. Be safe, swim between the flags if that's what you're going to go and do. 3 inches of snow and ice for Gay in Oklahoma, and you'll be hibernating this week. Wow, 3 inches of snow and ice. Yeah, that's no fun. You want to have everything at home. You don't want to have to go out onto the roads for anything at all. That's interesting. The riot squad have been deployed in Melbourne to guide people. Or was that kettle them into some areas? Yeah, well, they certainly don't want the crowd going up that way, Tony, do they?
Guy, cameraman. See, the cops are wearing the helmets, the riot helmets.
Yeah, I see that. Not a lot of protection
down there in the Flinders. Sorry?
I didn't think there was a lot of protection in there for those helmets. Still pretty high-sided.
Right here down.
So you... I'm surprised, Tony, that the size of the turnout isn't much larger, I'll be honest.
Yeah, hang on. I'll try and get a shot behind me, Carl. Hang on a sec. It goes all the way down the Flinders Street, right back to the railway station.
Oh,
you
wow,
see that?
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, well, that's quite the distance. Have you made it to Elizabeth Street yet?
Say again?
Have you made it to Elizabeth Street yet?
Yeah, we passed it. We're on the corner of
right.
Market Street, and they're still heading westerly direction down towards Crown Casino.
Right, okay. Could they have changed the meeting point, do you think?
I don't know. I'm expecting them to turn right any time soon.
Well, yeah, because for people who don't know Melbourne, they're marching in the opposite direction to where Parliament House is.
Yeah, I'd say they're going to go down the bottom and they turn right, go up, and then go up Collins or something like that.
Gay says this is reminiscent of the protests in 2021. I would have to agree, Gay. Maybe the plan is to block the Westgate Bridge all over again. Go for a walk up there. You up for a walk up to the top of the Westgate, Tony?
I don't know about that, Carl. That's a long way from here. I don't know if my back will put up with that.
No, mate. No, we wouldn't ask you to go and do that.
I'll catch a taxi or an Uber.
Yeah, to the nearest pub for a drink, I would have thought. That's what I'd be doing. Yeah, right, mate. I see you're right. There is quite a lot of people there. I underspoke all of that. My apologies to the good folk of Melbourne.
Here comes the MSN again. Here comes the mainstream media.
Good on them.
Oh, the reporter. There's a reporter. There's a reporter.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what lies they're telling about the day-to-day. Speaking
I'll keep moving.
Yeah, you keep moving.
Otherwise, I'll get too far behind.
I'll talk a little bit about the lies that we've been subjected to over the last few years. Australia Day has been vilified, you might know, for the last 5 or 6 years at least, as something we shouldn't have, probably closer to 10 years. Well, it turns out that some publicly funded organisations are the groups directly responsible for the activism behind Australia Day. The Australian Research Council is first cab off the rank. Sky News are reporting this today. They awarded sociologists $1.48 million to investigate whether Australia should change the date. The grant integrates contemporary research tools with Indigenous approaches to produce education resources for schools, communities, and multicultural groups, or in other words, impressionable soon-to-be voters. Couldn't be more truth in that. The Institute of Public Affairs has also been involved in pushing this. There have been a number of other high-profile Australian taxpayer-funded organisations who have been actively working against Australia Day and trying to get the date changed, moved, or removed completely. And I'm very, very pleased to say that that isn't the case, that Australians in the latest survey have come out in force to support January 26th as the day we should celebrate our Australia Day. However, apparently this idea has been out for a little while, but I've got to be honest and say I have never heard of it until Anthony Mundine and Pauline Hanson were on the Kiss FM show the other day with Jackie O, talking about ways that we might be able to build a bridge between those who call January 26th Invasion Day and those that call it Australia Day. And the idea put forward by Anthony Mundine was to, if you like, remember what happened to the Indigenous communities on the arrival of Europeans in Australia in the morning of January the 26th. And then in the afternoon, we can celebrate being what it is to be Australian. So to have some sort of commemorative, I'm not suggesting a service or anything like that, but to have some sort of remembrance of and acknowledgement, I think is the word I'm looking for, an acknowledgement of what happened when the Europeans came to this nation. That doesn't mean taking accountability. We've apologized enough. It's an acknowledgement that happened. Let's move on. And at 12 o'clock, when the clock ticks over 12 minutes and 1 second, or 12 o'clock and 1 second, we then celebrate the unity of being Australian and what it is to be Australian, what we have successfully managed to build together in spite of those that would tear us down. I think it's a very good suggestion, one that is very workable. And if you are a semi-fair-minded person, I think you'll find it reasonable enough to acknowledge what happened when Europeans came to this country without, having to beg forgiveness for it, because at the end of the day, I'm an Indigenous Australian. I was born here. I have a share in this country just the same as any other Indigenous person. And I feel very passionately about it, as I know many of you do. And many of you is exactly what we're seeing today. Many of you are out in force waving your flag, regardless of the colour. What I am seeing here on Australia Day, particularly in the Melbourne and Sydney parades, is a lack of Aboriginal flags. I am seeing a few of the red dusters in there, and the predominant, blue flag that we see acknowledged as the corporate flag of Australia. It's great that so many people have this patriotism for Australians and Australia. Big rollout by the looks of it in Sydney as well, although Chris is looking like he's taking a few shortcuts to try and get to the head of it, of the march there by the look of it. There are ways and means around these marches. If you've never chased a march with a camera, if you stop somewhere, the whole march is going to walk past you and you've got to get to the front again somehow. In Melbourne, it's remarkably easy to get around a certain protest route. You can take shortcuts through shopping centres and buildings and all sorts of different things. I don't know Sydney near as well, but I imagine you could probably do the same there, as it's a bit of a rabbit warren, and find yourself getting back out ahead of the march again. You can see he's managed to catch it up pretty well there at the moment. Still nothing that I'm aware of coming out of the Gold Coast or Brisbane. The Brisbane event is I think the only way to really describe it, and this isn't in any disparaging way, it is a One Nation event. I think Pauline will be speaking there. Malcolm Roberts will be speaking there. There'll be a couple of trusted, if you like, YouTubers speaking there. And I think it'd be a great rollout. It'll be a tremendous gauge for the support for Pauline Hanson and One Nation, and I don't think they need that sort of a gauge for Queensland. Their support here has gone through the roof. Pauline sat down with Channel 9's Carl Stefanovic, who's just got his own new podcast, the inaugural episode of which aired last night, and that was with Pauline Hanson. I watched that this morning. It was a very interesting and deeply probing interview. Clearly, they've had a relationship for many years. He knows her very, very well, and she him. It was a nice interview, very good. She's not making any bones about the fact of the polls saying that One Nation are taking over the country. She realizes that there is a lot of work to do and a lot to do to maintain that. The idea that One Nation could rule by themselves in autonomy, if you like, and win so many seats at the next election isn't lost on her. And there are predictions this morning that they could take up to 34 seats if this kind of wave of popular support maintains and is repeated at the ballot. That's a huge take. That would make them the opposition today, and a very strong opposition going into the next election. There is also some reports that a merger, a union, a coalition of sorts between One Nation and the Nationals might be on the card, but the Nationals do have quite a lot to answer for. They've blotted their copybook on a number of occasions with votes they've supported in the House that go directly against the interests of people in the regional areas, the farmers, and the regional cities. So One Nation quite rightly looks at the National Party and says, well, what value do you bring, considering that a lot of the national voters are swinging to One Nation now anyway, same as a lot of the Liberal voters. So I think the National Party, while a coalition is more than likely the united front that will be required to beat Labor at the polls, that coalition could be very strongly led by One Nation. And you could find the Liberal Party excised completely to lower party status, which I think is where it rightly belongs. At this point in time, they are struggling for leadership. They are struggling for ideas. They are certainly struggling for strategy. The people who are advising these Liberal politicians, particularly on strategy, should be fired immediately. If you're looking for people who know how to fight and strategize, give us a call. I know a few. But you've got it so wrong. Liberal Party, you have it so wrong. And I don't know what wind you are sniffing, but somebody must be spraying perfume up your nostrils, because if you didn't have that perfume-aided scent up your snout, you would know the country smells like shit and that you are in part responsible for it. So that will continue until you can find a leader that the people trust and you can develop policies that you can stick to. You know, like oh no, we're not going to vote for any of that. And then 2 days later, that's exactly what you do. You vote for things that the Australian public do not want. You vote for things that haven't had time to be scrutinised, haven't had proper approval processes run over them, and you ram them through on the Australian public. And you wonder why we think you're weak and cowardly. I mean, they dismiss people like me because we're only little, we don't have too many followers. But the fact is, we speak the truth. And these people aren't used to hearing the truth. They're used to living in cloistered environments where they're all told, oh, look, we can do better, but we're doing pretty well. Oh, you can do better. Well, you can do better, but you're doing pretty shit at the moment, Liberal Party and National Party. And I would hope that Pauline and One Nation have the sense to be able to recruit in a very strong manner. That means they may be able to recruit some people from those parties. The idea of Antic coming across, I beg your pardon, the idea of Canavan coming across from the Nationals to One Nation was laughed at by Pauline. She said she's rusted on National. Well, he may well be. I thought Barnaby Joyce was rusted on National too, but the National Party is not what it used to be, and they are no longer a party for the regional people of this country. They are no longer a party for the country people, the farmers, the food producers of this nation. They are now just the second fiddle to a very badly strung Liberal Party coalition bow that every time you pluck a string, it breaks. It's weak. It has no strength, and it certainly has no tone, except bad. So our marches continue. That looks like, well, a couple of feeds coming out of the Sydney area by the look of it, and Melbourne down here on the left, just above my head. Looks like might be Melbourne top right too with the tram lines. Although it's hard to tell now. Sydney has tram lines in different places. So I think everybody's got a light rail system. There must have been a global brown paper bag full of money, the amount of countries that have developed light rail systems in the last 20 years. And I think the German company that makes, is it German? That makes certainly all of the new rail stock for the light trains and even the big trains here in Queensland have been making many hundreds of millions of dollars out of us for a very long time. Sadly, they did get a whole pile of trains, brand new trains, arrive here in Brisbane a couple of years ago. I'd like to know where they are. Unfortunately, they were built about 2 inches too wide and won't fit through certain tunnels. So they can only be used on lines that have no tunnels and have a certain gap between poles. It's ridiculous. How do you get something like that wrong? Oh, that's right. You put a bureaucrat in charge of it. God. Oh, the Promethean updates. I haven't watched the Prometheans in a while, actually. So thank you, Gay. Yes, I will do that. 2 Melbourne feeds. Thank you, Vince, so I can figure out what's going on. Canberra's got a couple of hundred people at it. That's nice to see that they're getting out in Canberra. If you're in Bundaberg, if you're in Mackay, if you're in Cairns, by all means, please get in touch. Email me, carl@vofhq.com, and I will send you a link that allows you to log in and show us some pictures from your phone if you're that way inclined. And we'll endeavour to share those from your event wherever you are, in whichever state you happen to be in. So carl@vofhq.com, and I will email you the link so that you can join us in here and provide a feed from the particular event that you're at, and a bit of a catch-up. If you're up for a chat, then we're more than happy to look after that as well. So far, looks like there aren't any, what would you call them, counter-protests in Melbourne or Sydney. That is a good thing. We had heard that there might be, I mean, who wants to counter-protest Australia Day? What sort of morons would out themselves as being against Australian while sucking on the Australian public tit for all their welfare and associated other things? So having said that, there are a lot of not very smart people, and they might just go and do it. Just having a bit of a check of some of the comments and a bit of a buzz around to see what else is happening, if indeed. That's weird, you know, that Vince and I were talking earlier about the lack of feeds coming out of this event. One of the things I am particularly surprised about is Joel Jamal and Turning Point Australia. They're not streaming anything new that I can see here from the Sydney event. Joel's normally all over these kinds of things. Was he concerned for some reason that Australians might not come out and support Australia Day, or who was coming out and support? I know there was a large fear campaign about the NSN prior to this, and the New South Wales Coppers put an exclusion zone up and went and visited a number of people, mainly I think who were former NSN members or associates or people who'd been at the rally and attracted police attention. They served them with exclusion notices saying, you know, not allowed in this area, and there's a big patch of Sydney and central Sydney that these people are not allowed in today, on threat of being arrested, I beg your pardon. If it was the threat of being elected, there'd be all sorts of trouble. I'm sorry, Gay, you threw me. Have I been invited to the 250th celebrations? I have not. Isn't that a bit sad, Gay? And you want to know the really interesting thing? I was in the USA for its 200th anniversary. In fact, that was the last time I was in the USA. So 1976, and somewhere around here, I have a San Francisco nameplate with a San Francisco trolley car on it that has Carl with a C on it. My mother gave it to me a little while ago. It's something she kept from when I was a very little boy. And it was on the door of my bedroom for many years in one of the houses we lived in when I was a kid. And I thought it was gone forever. But anyway, I've got that in the bus here somewhere now too. So been a long time since I'm back in the States, but I was very fortunate. I had an uncle and an auntie who lived in Redwood City. And I think the auntie's still alive. She's in her mid-90s in Redwood City, just outside of San Francisco. And my uncle actually put the lights on top of the Golden Gate Bridge. So there you go, small world. There you go. Real Rukshan isn't moving around in Melbourne either. And Arby's, I think, coming back to Australia after his week in Davos via Israel. He's usually got to go and touch the stone after they've paid for a trip from overseas, I find. But who knows? He might be coming straight back. Yeah, Rukshan not out there, though, today. That's disappointing. Not surprising, but disappointing. This is a march for Australia on Australia Day. What are people afraid of? Don't understand. Don't understand. But it looks like the parades are going off without a hitch, which I am really happy for, and very hopeful that, not hopeful, I'm pretty confident, in fact, that there won't be any issues at any of the events. But still nothing coming out of Brisbane or the Gold Coast that we can tap into. So these folks are getting to their respective meeting points where we're told that there will be speeches. Tony on the steps earlier at Flinders Street Station was speaking to one of the guys who is sort of involved with the organisation of the event, and he seemed very knowledgeable in where everything was going. But I'll be honest, they started walking in the opposite direction. I haven't really been watching the Melbourne feed right now, but Tony might be able to give us a bit of an update if I can unmute him, so that he can tell us. Have you swung back towards Parliament House yet, Tony?
No, we're travelling north, and I think we're on the corner of the Lonsdale and Elizabeth Street. Yeah, that's it. And we're still travelling north at the moment.
All right. Well, it's been a pretty good couple of blocks walk around Melbourne. It's a good
yeah.
Good day to
So I hope they're going to turn around right soon and head back towards Parliament House.
Well, yeah, you got to think they're going to come back down on it there from Russell Street, maybe, or
it'd be something like that.
Oh, well, everybody will be puffed by the time they get there. They won't want to stand in the sun. There are a couple of good pubs around there, usually frequented by
there's one right across. Right across. I had a drink there last time.
Yeah.
I had a beer there last time.
Yeah.
It was packed out.
I remember getting a message from Darren Bergworth saying that he and Greenie were about 25 people deep and they had to buy 6 beers each at a time. Otherwise, you drink one, you got to wait 6 beers before you get another one. So,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's a very, very busy day for them there. There's some bemused Asians sitting there saying, "Oh, okay, I wonder what Australia's doing today."
Yeah. Here's one not so bemused.
That's very true. Very true. So, what's your feeling about it, Tony? What's the feeling with the vibe with the people you're marching around?
Oh, they all seem to be pretty happy and excited to be here. So, I was talking to one lady before. She goes, "Without Australia Day, we wouldn't be here." I said, "That's so true."
Are you seeing much support for any particular political persuasion?
Only One Nation, really. The One Nation, Pauline Hanson cutouts.
Yeah, well, as it should be on a day like today. It's really support for the nation, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't see any for Nationals, Liberals or Labor. We're still heading north, so I don't know where we're going.
Wow.
We're right up the top, pretty well the top end of town now. Oh, hang on.
Yeah,
I think they might be turning right now.
Yeah, well, they've probably got to go down Russell or go down, what's the next one up from Russell? Spring.
I think we're at Latrobe at the moment. Looks like they're going down. Yep, they're heading east now, down towards Latrobe. So we'll be heading back towards Parliament House, I'd say.
Are the police guiding this, mate? Are they out the front of it? I don't mean.
No, they're just at the intersections.
Right.
Just making blocking the traffic off. Just telling people which direction to go, basically.
Yeah.
There's a couple there now. I don't know if you can see them.
Mate, it might be interesting if you see any bemused-looking what might be international travellers or whatnot standing there watching the whole thing walk past. Might be interesting you get a comment from them as what they think it's all about.
Yeah. All right. I'll see if I can find any.
And young people who are more interested in shopping than celebrating, maybe.
Yeah. Got their heads buried into their phones.
Yeah.
Dropped out.
Looks like Tony's dropped out on us. which does happen. We're overloading a lot of the circuits in various places around various cities. We're not the only people who've got a live stream happening out, and every one of those people is probably sending messages to friends and family. So it does take up a great deal of bandwidth, and we're pushing our end to the max at the moment too. So apologies if the signal does appear to be dropping out from time to time. So got a feed coming from Melbourne here, I believe, on the right-hand side, and Chris Goveries is coming out of Sydney on the left-hand side there. Once again, a very good rollout in Sydney. The police organisation in Sydney seems to be the main talking point at the moment, in that ordinarily they have a police liaison officer. That officer's either on holidays or hasn't been assigned to this particular event, and there seems to be a large amount of confusion about who is the police liaison. Anyway, they managed to get it together and clearly got themselves on the path to wherever they're going to meet for the speeches. I'm told that will not be Hyde Park. Hyde Park is part of an exclusion zone that the police have initiated. Of course, New South Wales police have put a ban on marches like this, but they realised that an Australia Day march was not something they could, reasonably ban and expect people to listen to. So it's not much good to me. Vince, you might ring Tony. He's calling me. So yeah, we'll endeavour to try and find a couple of other feeds, especially from the Gold Coast and the Brisbane events. Fingers crossed there'll be something there that we can bring you. Otherwise, we might call it quits and go and find a pool and a cold beer on a day like today. Vince is expecting 45 degrees in his part of South Australia today. I was talking to Tim Dwyer yesterday, and they were expecting 47 degrees in his part of South Australia today. The Adelaide event was expecting 45 degrees. Did I say that already? And Melbourne, clearly, I think they're walking around a 37, 38 degree heat. It is all of that here in Queensland at the moment. And we are expecting a thunderstorm a little later on, another 2 or 3 hours, which will hopefully cool things down a little bit. But other than that, it'll just make it more muggy. The humidity at the moment is, pushing 60%. So it's an unpleasant day to be out in the sun in Queensland, as it probably is in most other parts of the world, given that we tend to get burnt very quickly. Have you noticed that? You go out in direct sunlight these days and all of a sudden your skin starts to tingle. Never used to be like that, but yeah. Pete, you just saw silver at $155.76. Well, I'm amazed how you've seen that, because the worldwide markets are closed. That might just be the price that a dealer is offering or whatever. But the markets are closed, and I can tell you the spot price hasn't changed since the market's closed. What is changing is the price people will pay. The spot price is paper. As Pete, well know, in China at the moment, you'll be hard-pressed to be able to buy a single ounce of silver for less than $190. So that is the real price of silver. What they're paying for it in the gold souks in the Middle East, and what they're paying for it in the Asian markets to get it into China particularly. And the markets are closed overseas. Well, the markets now, I suppose, will start opening up. The algorithms are based on New York time, so 6 p.m. New York time, Sunday night, New York time, not Monday, Sunday night, New York time. The algorithms will start up, and you'll see them starting to fight against what's happening in the paper market. That will feed into what happens with the Australian market, which I believe is one of the first to open in the world, and it's closed today because of a public holiday. So what we will see later today is when the New York market opens, later tonight, we will see the whole kick then. We're being saved from it at the moment because it's a public holiday. That's the only reason, I believe. it's going to start kicking. So, yeah, so, okay. I've probably got myself all screwed up and out of the head there, so I apologise if that's the case. Let me just have a look at the trading view, and it'll tell me what's going on. But yes, folks, the word on silver is get some. Get as much of it as you currently can hold, as you can currently buy. I have the silver spot currently at $107.58, gone up $4 since the market opened 2 hours ago, or a bit over 2 hours ago. So there you go. It's kicking. And the strategies that I've heard over the last couple of days playing out this week probably mean it's going to kick harder and keep going for a good while yet. There will be pullbacks, be aware of that, but it's still not too late to go and buy. And I would urge you, if you have a free bit of dollar to spend, then go to ainslieBullion.com.au, use my name in the notes section or Voice of Freedom. You'll get a discount. Now, it won't be much of a discount, but it is the only discount I believe anybody will give you at the moment when it comes to buying silver or gold, if that's what you're up for. So take advantage of even the smallest discount, and depending on what you buy, you might be able to buy a bit more. ainslieBullion.com.au. There are some delays in delivery. That is based out of the Perth Mint. The Perth Mint are the refiners. They process everything, and they are processing as fast as they can. They are filling all sorts of different orders, pardon me, from 1,000 ounce bars to kilo bars to ounce bars to coins to rounds to square things to everything. So it all takes a while to get made and then get shipped out. Ainsley have advised me that there are no problems with orders. They are still taking orders, and the Perth Mint are still taking and fulfilling those orders. You just won't be able to pick up maybe some items that you decide to buy immediately. There will be a little bit of a wait, and we've been experiencing that. I think I'm at 3 weeks now waiting for a coin that I ordered, and fingers crossed it'll turn up in the not too distant future. But I do know that that particular coin has gone up. Not a huge amount, but it hasn't doubled its value or anything like that, but it hasn't done too badly. And when it gets into my hands, it'll all be good. And I certainly trust I certainly trust Ainsley Bullion with all of that. Thanks to Shockmouth for his feed. Thank you, Shockmouth. I'm not sure. Oh, yes, righto, the one on the right. That's very cool. Is that's our Melbourne feed, I think, or another Melbourne feed? We're having some problems getting Tony back in by the sound of it. Oh, there he is. I think we've had a little bit of a reconnection there, which is good. It's great that we've been able to get into Shockmouth's feed, so appreciate him letting us in there. It looks like we might be getting to a point where there are some marches or speeches about to happen in Melbourne. Might be good to get close to that if we can, so we can hear what's being said. Can you unmute that Melbourne feed from Shockmouth's Vince? All right, Vince is having a bit of a struggle trying to get some audio out. We've got something muted somewhere.
Are you getting that?
Yep, got it now. I'm just trying to pick where they are. I don't think they've made it to
definitely
the
a
front.
Melbourne feed. It is a Melbourne feed.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out. They've sort of come from an angle to Parliament House that I'm not used to. All right, so there's a pause maybe before they keep moving.
Oh, watch out.
I'm getting the feeling that Tony's phone may have overheated after live streaming for an hour or so, pretty much non-stop. So it might be needing a bit of a cool down at the moment. That is why we aren't able to get his feed up. Just gone through $108 an ounce silver. And I've still got nothing from live Brisbane protest march or Gold Coast.
No, there is absolutely nothing out there. It is surprising if it wasn't for Chris Discoveries, our own feed, and Shockmouth. That is it. That is all that's coming up on the live feeds in YouTube. It's unbelievable. Now, it's not that I don't think people are attending. I think there are out there, but I'm wondering if there's no cell reception in other places.
They might have backed them down quite a lot. And the Gold Coast is renowned for doing that. It's very easy for them to back down the cell power. In fact, they did it in Canberra when the Million Man March was on in Canberra as well. They backed the particular cell towers down near the near the Questacon and the National Library there. We have a Tony back. I'm just having a look on Rumble to see if there's anything there, but
I've lost the main crowd.
okay, mate, that's all right. You've got a vague idea of the general direction they're heading?
Yeah, I'm taking a shortcut back to Parliament House.
Yep, that's the spirit. As we said before, there's plenty of opportunity to take shortcuts around Melbourne to get back ahead of these protests, particularly when they walk them around the long way like this.
Yeah, I don't know why they took that path, to be quite honest.
I wonder whether or not there was another protest somewhere that they wanted to avoid, or they didn't want it to go anywhere near the Australian Open. It's on the completely wrong side of the river.
Yeah, we're fair way away from there.
Yeah.
Anyway, just trying to make Lonsdale. Right, I'll head up north there. And can head down Spring Street.
Looks to me like they're coming along either Russell or Spring Street from the Lonsdale Street end at the moment.
Okay. Well, I'm heading up towards Russell. I'm heading up to Russell Street now, basically. Heading east.
It is a very, I would not know what to do.
For some reason, on my Telstra phone, the browser keeps saying it's blocking the the mic and camera for some reason. Must be some setting on the phone.
Oh, really? Well, it seems to be working all right. We're getting plenty of pictures from you.
Yeah,
There's
that's on. It's on my normal phone. Back on the normal phone.
I don't know if I wanted to go.
Looks to me like the looks like I might be getting another feed from Beck. The Chaos Chronicles, Vince, but at the moment they look like they're in a car, so I don't know how they're helping much from there.
Oh, that's the guy from Port Punker. That's a guy from Port
Punker. CH.
Yeah. He's the one who's been chasing up all the stuff about Desi.
Ah, right. Okay. Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, he's in the air conditioning in the car at the moment. Not chasing too
good
much
luck to him. Good luck to him. He normally comes up on my feed.
Some nice donations out of it. $10 for hot chips. So, well, good. Thank you, Paul. Really appreciate your thoughts, mate. And happy Australia Day to you, mate. Thank you. I always appreciate reading the comments that you leave. They're very important. And if you do leave a comment, folks, we do read it. May not always reply to it. Vince tries to. If you upset me with your comment, I might reply, but usually not. So I don't enter into those. You're welcome to your opinion. And I certainly do not believe that you have to believe what I believe. Flagstaff Gardens near Parliament House is where I'm getting the word now from, Tony. But they are definitely heading to Parliament House. So, yeah, it did look to me like they were somewhere near the back of the Flagstaff Gardens, but I don't really know that area.
That means they're just northeast of me, basically, in the next block. Because I'm on kind of Russell and Longsdale Street.
And yes, I cannot believe.
I could see flashing lights up there.
So we are simply getting.
It's got to head east now.
Absolutely freaking. Well, that's weird as, isn't it, that there is absolutely nothing coming out of Brisbane or the Gold Coast. We cannot find any feed on any other channel. Makes me feel like I should have gone down there now. We just felt it was going to be a bit much for Vince to try and coordinate all of this in one go and have me, down on the Gold Coast. However,
I can see him.
My man down there.
Ainsley before Cup.
Sorry, mate?
I went past Ainsley.
Oh, did you?
Ring them up and give us a cup and buy some stuff.
Yeah. Well, 12th floor, I think, in Burke Street. Was it Burke Street?
And Collins.
Collins Street.
Collins Street. I've been there a few times. Yep.
Wonderful folks there. And Penny's wondering, Tony, do we need to give you a bit of a rest? You need to go and get a drink. You've had a huge walk.
I'm then going to stop as soon as I get to Parliament House.
Yeah, well, it looks like they've arrived at Parliament House at the moment.
Yeah. I'm just one block away.
And the pub's starting to
fill
up.
I could see some flags. Yep, I could see some flags. Geez, they walked around virtually around the whole of Melbourne.
They have, yeah. They've walked around the whole CBD.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, we don't have a stream out of Brisbane at the moment. If you've got it or got one, can you email it to me, carl@vofhq.com, and we'll put it up as soon as we find it. But I'm looking at Rumble. I'm looking at YouTube. Vince is looking at TikTok and Instagram. We are finding nothing.
Maybe Queensland
outside of
government
the Chaos Chronicles.
put a blackout. Put a blackout on the social network.
Ozpill streaming on Kick. Oh shit, that's useful, isn't it? Kick. Must be something the children play with these days, is it? What the hell is Kick?
Got me. I don't know that one.
Okay. Well, it's a beta thing, so God knows what it would be like. Let's have a look.
I had to wear my good shoes today. Oh yeah, I can see them.
Okay, I can't see anything here.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, so Ozpill's covering Melbourne. I can see it at kick.com, Vince.
Big Pan. We're getting the PA system set up right now.
But still nothing out of Brisbane, which is where I'm really looking for. I'm trying to find something from Brisbane or the Gold Coast.
We can't really carry them at the moment. I wish we. What can I even do with these? That's why Yasin's supposed to be grabbing stuff. Like this is that situation. But he's at the front part, so we've got to get up there. We've got to get up there and stage we're setting up.
I'm just going to back myself out of this for a minute, folks, and try and sort something out with the Gold Coast.
People just give you stuff at events, like lots of books and sorts of stuff. Yeah. You need someone to take it all. Oh, no, back to Australia, British again. Oh, I have to call. Test. Again, bro, again. Was that? Thank you. I have no idea, man. I don't think so. I think play something else. All right.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thanks, let's go.
Is it?
It's on the pin.
Are you sure? Are you sure? What's your guess for the big balls you're going to come home?
I've not seen a single like agitated.
No, just surprised. The police have done a pretty good job.
I think George Soros is checking that.
Yeah. No paid protesting.
Yeah. No,
Get Up's run out of money now.
I'll say it seems very.
Get Up's got no more money, so there's no protesters.
Exactly.
No one's been paid.
All right. So you want to get up there now?
Yeah, they're asking for you on the phone, mate.
Yeah.
So they called me.
Yeah, see you again?
Other one.
So that is the Gold Coast, folks. Thank you to Dan, my mate Dan Somerville, who is helping us out today. I was meant to be there with Dan, and I pulled out this morning. So thankfully, he's been very generous and allowed us to jump in on top of him. Everybody down along the beach there. beautiful part. So the Esplanade looks like it is forming the at least part of the route that everybody is marching on Australia Day. And what a great place to be marching along the beach in Surfers Paradise. So once again, you can hear that the sentiment about the government stance on immigration, the Australian people are definitely not with that. It may sound a bit hard to say send them back, but there are so many Australians living rough on the streets, unable to put together rent, unable to, find a job that pays enough money to even be able to rent a house. I feel for those families. There are plenty of families living rough in their cars or in tents on the side of roads because of the decisions that this and previous governments have made. But predominantly the Labor government and their immigration program is destroying this nation. And you can tell Australians all around the nation understand that to be the case and refuse to be gaslit by it any longer. Great mix of flags there. For those people who don't understand the difference between the red and the blue flags, there are a couple of different red flags. Some people will know them as the Navy ensign or the red ensign or the red duster. I've described two different flags in those three sayings. So if you are looking for the flag that our Anzacs fought under, thank you, Dan. Missed Dan there, so we'll pull them back up. The easiest way to tell the flag that the Anzacs fought under is to look at the bottom star in the Southern Cross on that flag and count the points. If there are 9 of them, then that is the correct flag. And then if you count the points on the stars subsequently in the Southern Cross, you'll find they go 9, 8, 7, 6 and count backwards. Whereas if you look at the flag, that one there, particularly on the right-hand side, the blue one, you'll find all these stars have the same amount of points, I think, from memory. Or certainly not the right amount of points. So sadly, it looks like we've lost our feed out of the Gold Coast for whatever reason. It's just gone black. But it looks like a pretty big event there on the Gold Coast as they march their way. Well, nearly at Cavill Avenue. And that, of course, for those folks who know Surfers Paradise, the big mall there right at the end of the beach where the Surfers Paradise sign is, I imagine that will be the place where they will congregate. Going back. Oh, now it looks like we're getting Dan back. Oh no, that looks like to be another feed. That's Tony out of Melbourne on the bottom left.
They didn't let people access
We'll try and get close to somewhere where we can hear these speeches.
There's no one talking at the moment, Carl.
Oh, okay. I'm listening to 3 different feeds, so there's 4 different feeds. It could be coming from anywhere. And I might be about to get a 5th coming through, so... So I'm just getting... thanks, Frank. 48.1 degrees northern New South Wales, folks. I've just had the thermometer picture sent to me. 48.1. That's not far south of the Queensland border. So it's a warm one. It's a warm one all over. So Ozpill, you can see down in our bottom left hand of our combined screen. He is the guy that has been organising in large part what's been happening in Melbourne for this event, along with some others. Above him, we are getting a feed from Sydney, from Discoveries. Chris Goveries is a YouTube channel. I urge you to go along and subscribe to him. He's always out and about in Sydney when there's a rally of any kind. And then for Shockmouths, who are sending us a feed also out of Melbourne at the moment. He's standing a bit far back, but it gives you a great idea of the size of the crowd that they have in Melbourne at the moment. It is quite spectacular. We might just mute Ozpill's audio, if that's the one that's really loud. And Tony, I think, was going to try and make his way a little closer to a stage so that the PA could be heard. We might be able to get an idea of the speeches. How good is that got to make you feel, folks? Just having a bit of a glance at the silver spot price at ainsleyBullion.com.au, $156.60. I find they are the cheapest spot price in Australia. You'll probably find it more expensive in others. I like to go from the cheapest. But the point that's really interesting me at the moment, the gold-silver ratio has dropped down to 46.8. That's the lowest I've ever seen it. And it looks to me like the candle is only staying green and getting bigger at this juncture. I think they call this a Christmas candle in the finance world. Great pictures. Thank you, Dan, coming out of the Gold Coast. Certainly Gold Coast, great place to be today. After the march, turn left, fall into the surf. Just make sure you do it between the flags and keep an eye out for the things that have big teeth and fins. Not that there have been any shark attacks on the Gold Coast. Sydney seems to have been the place for those in the last week, although I would advise people don't go swimming in dirty water. The bull sharks have been cooped up in the rivers because it's so hot. They've come back out of the rivers en masse. And there is a lot of very hungry sharks getting washed out into the salt water areas. We will. It's a great roll up on the Gold Coast today and a great march through what is an iconic part of the Australian tourism landscape. Australia Day on the Gold Coast, it will have thousands of people from all over the country still there celebrating their school holidays or not having to go back to school. That'll be pretty cool. And then, of course, just to the left of that picture are the high-rise buildings that many, many thousands of dedicated Australians live in. There's Dan doing a great job. Thank you, brother. Appreciate everything you're doing. He's keeping us up to date as best he can as they make their way down to where the speeches are going to happen. I'm not sure where that's going to be. I assume it could be at Cavill Ave, but I could be wrong. Some great pictures now coming back in on the mixed screen from Melbourne. You can see out in front of Parliament House there, there's got to be 5,000 to 10,000, even more people. I think it stretches back down Collins Street, the numbers there. And also from Chris Goverys, it looks like the speeches are about to get underway. They've got the truck with the PA system in. And, yep, looks like...
down the street, there are anti-Australian marches happening as we speak. Invasion Day, they call it. No doubt they will be burning flags, spilling fake blood all over the streets with their anti-white banners spewing their nasty rhetoric. These are the same types of people who are desecrating and destroying our statues and monuments, seemingly with impunity. They hate you, they hate your culture, they hate your way of life, and they hate your ancestors. As we speak, they are rushing through citizenship ceremonies of foreigners. Let that sink in. They use our national holiday to rush through their replacement ceremonies. Shame on them! Shame on them! Today, we are here to restore an unmistakable, unapologetic, and very public national pride towards Australia Day. This is a day that used to be proudly and publicly celebrated and loved in this country. However, in recent decades, there has been a huge coordinated attempt to manipulate Australians into being ashamed of our own heritage, identity and history. Congratulations to everyone here for not falling for the intense generational propaganda. This Australia Day, we're taking back our streets from this destructive anti-Australian agenda. We are flying our flags proudly and unapologetically. We are a nationwide movement, and this is probably the largest display of national pride on Australia Day for many years. According to multiple mainstream media sources, a new poll has shown that Australians are standing firm on national pride, with 88% of voters declaring they are proud of their identity and want a day dedicated to celebrate the country. Ladies and gentlemen, the days of self-deprecation and suicidal empathy are well and truly over. They have awakened the beast, and the beast I'm talking about is true blue, patriotic Australians, and there is nothing they can do to stop it. We are here and we're not going away. This is our country. Our ancestors strategized, sacrificed, fought and bled and died for this amazing land, and we will not go quietly into the night. We have an obligational duty to pass down a decent nation for the next generations, just like our ancestors did for us. Despite the traitors who are trying to destroy us with their mass immigration and their oppressive and tyrannical governance, we will keep standing strong. Australia was built by legends and it must be saved by legends.
We seem to have lost the Sydney feed for some reason. We're looking at Melbourne and now we're not hearing Sydney.
Do it on their own. Network and build community. Unite together. The Australian spirit lives within us. We are what made this country the greatest country on earth, and we, the Australian people, must be the solution to this problem. It is our duty. Growing up, we thought we were in the lucky country, but we were betrayed. No one ever expected for the country to go this way, but the duty lands directly on us. Our nation needs us to reclaim its identity. Our ancestors defied all odds and pulled off something special. We can too. That's all I got today. I just want to give a massive shout out to our Gold Coast organiser, Michael, who was violently attacked by multiple men of Middle Eastern appearance. And he received terror threats on his event after travelling all the way from Mackay to the Gold Coast, and he's still soldiering on with the event today. Michael's an absolute Aussie hero. And finally, thank you to all the organisers across the nation for your incredible efforts. You're all great patriots. You know you are. Billy, Hayes, who else we got? Hugo. Michael. He was a shout out. Today we got a great lineup of speakers and entertainment. We have an awesome lineup of speeches, plus you will hear some stories about the founding history of this nation. And if everyone behaves themselves, we may even get a little bit of classic Australian live music. Thanks to the vastly talented Viscount Dundee.
Please.
I think, hey, Viscount, are you ready? Do you want to do a speech, mate? Was polite, and I think most of the locals look very bemused. Now, so we've known for a long time that there was going to be a March for Australia on today. And like clockwork, what happened yesterday in the Sydney Morning Herald? And another big smear piece on March for Freedom and March for Australia and Beck Freedom. And what did they say about Beck Freedom yesterday? This is basically what they said. They said Beck Freedom's neighbour's cat has a third cousin who might have said something naughty on the internet 5 years ago. That's basically what they said. They're trying to smear us. They're trying to shut us down because they don't want to have a debate about immigration. And what they are doing, you know, all these attacks on free speech, starting with Premier Minns. And you know, Mark Latham calls Premier Minns Ho Chi Minns. And I think that's a good one.
Never ever get that back.
I've been there for about 2 years. There's been 3 or 4 rounds of more anti-free speech laws, And why do they want to shut us up? Well, before March for Australia, the polls were saying about 53% of Australians thought we had too much immigration. Now, after March for Australia, I think courage is contagious. And now the polls are saying 60 to 65%.
And we're not.
And it's possibly more than that. Now it's a very.
We're not sorry for being.
Middle
Australia. We're not sorry.
Australia. Okay, because the vast majority of people are with us, but they still want to shut us up. And that's why they keep bringing in all these hate speech laws. Now, there is an organisation which recently got deemed that, you know, under these new powers of Albo, a federal minister could just declare an organisation a hate organisation. So they're not terrorists. It's one level down from that. But what that means is they can be banned. They don't have to do anything wrong. They just have to think wrong things. Now, what has happened there's been, I understand about 24 people have had their doors knocked on the last few days by New South Wales police saying you can't come anywhere near this, or 5 years in the slammer for you. Now, look, one day it's Joel Davis, okay, but now they've got the power to say, well, it might be climate change denial, or people who are against the trans radical stuff, or might be against abortion. They can now just deem a group to be a hate group, and then they just completely shut it down. This is East Germany. So it might be one little group that a lot of people here, maybe most people here, don't have much in common with, but they've now got the power to do it again. It's very frightening. So what we need more than anything else in this country is a referendum on changing the Constitution to enshrine free speech.
Amen! Amen! Freedom of speech! Freedom of speech! Freedom of speech!
And we want free speech now more than ever to talk freely and openly about immigration.
Amen!
That's the biggest issue. If you get the immigration wrong, you wreck the country. Now, you know, I'm guessing there's not many people who are fans here of BlackRock, the company that owns the whole world. Okay, well, you know, their CEO this week was very honest on camera. He said, you know, he's concerned about, you know, his share price going up, etc. He said the countries that resisted mass immigration are going to have a better economic future. Gee, surprise, surprise about that. And Chris Minns, Ho Chi Minh, has told us on 3 or 4 occasions, he says, we can't have multiculturalism and free speech, so therefore he chooses multiculturalism. Now, I tell you what, that should make you angry. That should make you angry. And it wasn't just a passing comment, he said it 3 or 4 times. Now, if our parents and our grandparents knew when they started talking about multiculturalism in the 1970s and 1980s, if they were told, well, we're going to let a few people in and we're going to have to give up free speech in response to it, our parents would have been out here in 10 times these numbers. And they would have said this is unacceptable, but they've tricked us into it. And now even BlackRock admits, yeah, it's bad for the economy. So, yes, we need free speech to talk about immigration. But Labor, the 2 major parties, so the polls are 65% in favour of, at least having a pause. I support a 5-year pause. But the 2 major parties are hell-bent on it. Now, why is Labor? Why does Labor want all this mass migration? Well, in every country, in every society, new people to a country are going to be generally on welfare more, and they vote for the cut party that's going to give them more welfare. So Labor, Joe Biden, all the lefties in Europe, they want new migrants coming in who are going to be dependent on welfare. Now, but what about the Liberal Party? Why is the Liberal Party, why are they so scared about this issue? It's because it's bad for them. It's bad for them. But, well, hang on, let me finish. Now, the Liberals are just so freaked out. They live in complete panic 24/7 about being called a racist. They get so scared. They bend over backwards. They'll even wreck the country with our immigration program as long as they're not called a racist. But they should stop being scared about it, because you could be walking down the street and drop a packet of twisties and someone can say, well, that was racist. Okay? Everything's racist these days. And so we just got to sort of laugh at them in their face. We want to keep Australia as it is. Now, the last thing I'll say is, the 26th of January is not just the anniversary of the first Australia Day. It's also the anniversary, 20 years after the first Australia Day, in 1808, it was the day of the Rum Rebellion. And the Rum Rebellion was when the people of New South Wales rose up against an oppressive, tyrannical government. So in the spirit of the Rum Rebellion, I say, let's keep fighting on. We've got the majority of Australians with us, and we're going to keep fighting. Thank you very much.
Happy Australia Day, mate.
So the first of the speeches in Sydney. They're setting up for speeches on the Gold Coast. That'll happen on the beach in front of Cavill Avenue under the Surfers Paradise sign. And it looks like Ozpil and crew have just finished speaking at the Melbourne event. It looks like he's still going there, but it's a bit of a delay. I've got a different feed that I'm getting from. Who am I getting this from, Vince? Audition Australia, and they're also floating around in Melbourne. Still only getting intermittent stuff from the Gold Coast. What we're doing is getting into position there. I'll just send Dan a text. And we'll see if we can't get the Gold Coast back up. Still nothing. Now, somebody alluded that there was a feed coming out of the Brisbane event. We cannot find that feed anywhere online. Near as we can tell, we're it. There are individuals like Chris Govery's covering Sydney and Ozpil covering Melbourne. but there's nobody bringing it all together anywhere. And Turning Point
Australia
Australia
is crowning
usually do that
achievement.
kind of thing.
It is the soil that birthed our hardy stock. It is the home of us here today. It is the legacy of our forefathers. It is the future of our children. We must remember that we're made for inhospitable places at the edge of the known world. Our blood does not start in 1788, but from a time before. It's as old as the Southern Cross read by the Northern Stars. We are the proud fighting race that sacked Rome. We slew the Sassanid of Jerusalem, and we bled and died at the Battle of the Boyne. And now we're being driven out of the land we built. We are being reduced to a minority in the Garden of Eden that our grandsires begot us. And we dare to ask for a stake in this country that we have made, and we are told no. We have exhausted every avenue. We have made every appeal. The Parliament has made it apparent that they no longer have any intentions of representing us whatsoever. Canberra has closed every door in our face.
No! Come on, Parliament! Come on, Parliament!
But by attempting to stop history in motion, it's performing a ritual to a dead god. You can sooner legislate away gravity, but unlike gravity, the waking conscience of men have their own ambitions. We have been threatened. We have been dishonoured. We have been debased by perpetual hunger. Whole peoples have lost the tense force of their race by the gnawing wretchedness of their station. From the day of our subjugation at Worcester to the ghosts of our grandsires at Culloden, we've been cast into slavery to toil beneath the cruelty of inferior men, and we chafe with indignation. In this moment, you'll never know how many hearts beat for the destiny that lies in wait, for the opportunity to avenge the sacrifice of our ancestors, as not even death can stifle their battle cry.
Amen.
There awakes in our souls a deep yearning for the ancient institutions that linger in our minds today. Men are tired to disgust of the politics of money and long for the ancient sense and connectedness to the higher and selfless orders of chivalry, of belonging, and of duty. We shed all ideology, for the only thing that can cast aside one great power wheel is another. The only way forward is to remember who we are, to awaken to that will of our own, to achieve our own political consciousness when the instincts of the blood reawaken in the depths of our soul.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Oh, guys,
Amen, brother.
as I said,
Do not dread the hour at hand.
And
For war is the father of all great things. And this fight for our survival, this heroism displayed, your attendance today defines who we are going forward and what we will become.
Amen.
Historically speaking, on such occasions, men have arisen to the challenge of the day. Men who will say and do things that transcend the current paradigm. And it is incumbent on each and every soul to decide how their conscience sees fit. For those who know who we are, for those who remember where we are from, that decision will be obvious. All we have now is us and ourselves. The reality is all of history is decided by a few hard men. And where will you be when these men stand?
Right next to them. Right next to them.
Christ is king!
Christ is king! Christ is king!
Never before has so much rested on the shoulders of so few. Never before has an age presented our people with such an existential question. Some will think that this rhetoric sounds somewhat violent, but the fact is the violence is already here. It's already pressed upon us. It's in our homes. It invades our streets. It berates our sons, and it violates our daughters. They have criminalised us.
Save our daughters!
And we are far from done.
Save our daughters! Send them back! Send them back!
Send them back!
Send them back! Send them back!
They have criminalised us, and we are far from done. They will try and tear us out root and branch, and they will fail. They have beaten us pillar to post, and we still stand. Our destiny can be stemmed by no army. It can be abolished by no law. Our enemies are shit and a silk stocking, and we will break them like glass. Free Joel Davis!
Free Joel Davis!
Free Free Joel Davis!
Free Joel Davis!
Free Joel Davis!
Free Joel Davis!
Thank you.
Joel Davis, of course, still in prison.
Magnificent as always. Our next speaker is Cumberland Councillor for Libertarians, Steve Christou. Welcome to the stage, mate. Steve.
Joel has been in jail since Annika Wells took a dislike to something that he said.
Happy Australia Day, Aussie Patriots! I'm glad to be out here joining so many Aussie Patriots today, celebrating this country's great day, because we have many that don't love our country, and they're across the other side of the city. Boo! Give them a big boo! We are seeing our country being flushed down the toilet right before our very eyes. And we've got Anthony Albanese, the Greens, and the Liberal Party to blame, because they are all together importing ISIS brides under the cover of darkness. Okay? Now look them up! Look them up! That's right, sack all of them. Not only are they importing ISIS brides, they're there also welcoming people into our country that don't like our way of life. Devaluing Australian values. Send them back! Send them back! Send them back! Send them back! Now, unfortunately, you know, everything that happens these days, our governments are quick to call it a catastrophe. It's been a major incident, a catastrophe. And bit by bit, they want to take away our rights and our freedoms. As we saw with these so-called hate speech laws. We don't need hate speech laws. We already had laws. What we need is laws targeting Islamic extremism. So we must all stand up as a country and let them know we are not the silent minority. We are indeed going to be the loud majority, because we all need to stand up as patriots and say, no more. Enough is enough. All right? No more of cost of living crisis. No more of people sleeping in cars and parks and in train stations. I came in using the train today, and at Central Station we must have seen a dozen people sleeping on platforms and on the floor. And it's a national shame that while we have these people homeless, our own people, our Australian people, our government is sending $5 billion overseas in foreign aid every year. Boom! So, as I promised many people on the way in here, on behalf of all of Australia and every Aussie patriot, believe me when I say it's not hate speech, Albo, when I say fuck Albo on behalf of everybody. And what you've done to this country. Let's wrap it up with Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! 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 Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Happy Australia Day. Well done, everybody.
Thanks, Steve. That was good. Our next speaker is Beck Freedom. Give her a hand, everyone. She's put in a lot of effort for these events, so.
Hey guys, how you going? I appreciate every single one of you that came here today. You know what's important, and that's our country. Now, I stuffed up. I didn't write a speech, but that's okay. I've got a little bit written, and then I'm going to get our good friend Viscount to jump up and sing us a song that's to do with what I've got to say. Then after that, I'm going to come back up and have a chat to you guys about some of the things that happened while we were on our march that were absolutely disgusting. Now, heritage, culture, and identity are all things that should be protected. All things that should be celebrated in Australia on Australia Day. By the government was diversity. They want us to celebrate diversity on a day that we should be celebrating Australia. They want us to welcome modern Australia with open arms and say, yay! Modern Australia is destroying our country. Now, when I was growing up in school, and I'm not that old, I'm only 35. When I was at primary school, we used to sing songs. The songs that we used to sing were songs that represented our heritage and our culture. One of my favorites was Botany Bay. Now, that song represents what we as a people are, true and true. These days, I've got 2 primary school children. They had no idea what that song was. They had no idea. It broke my heart. It broke my heart because we should be remembering the people that came here on the First Fleet. We should be remembering them and showing them respect and love for what they did for this country. They are the reason why we are here. All right, I'm going to get Viscount up. He's going to sing us Botany Bay. If you know the lyrics, please sing along with us.
Here we go. I've got the Australian flag. I couldn't find
What did you do to this? Do you want to stand around while I tune this, or the microphone's at back height? Hold on.
Oh, that's good. That's based actually. That looks cool actually. Oh gee, I was gonna kill myself.
Well, goodbye, old England forever.
I couldn't find the flag and my
farewell to my rum cause as well. Farewell to the well-known Old Bailey, where we used for to cut such a swell. Singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, out-a-dee. Singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, out-a-dee. We're bound for Botany Bay. That was good. You're all beautiful singers. There's the first one, and he's our commander. He's the first mate, Thank you. There's the first and the second class passengers, and those are what we convicts go through. Singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, out-a-dee. Singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, out-a-dee. We're bound for Botany Bay. And if I had the wings of a turtle dove, over the ocean I'd fly, into the arms of my Molly love, and on her sweet bosom I'd die. Singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, out-a-dee. To-rely, hurrah-lie, singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, out-a-dee. We're bound for Botany Bay. Now all you young ladies and duties and duchesses, now listen to what I've to say. Mind all is your own that you touches, oh, you'll join us in Botany Bay. Singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, out-a-dee. Singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, out-a-dee. We're bound for Botany Bay. One more time. Singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, out-a-dee. Singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, singing to-rely, hurrah-lie, out-a-dee. We're bound for Botany Bay.
Thank you, Viscount. You're an absolute legend. And if you guys like the sound of his voice, hang around because he'll be doing a few other songs for us, some that he's written himself, which I'm looking forward to hearing. All right. Now, like I said, I just wanted to go through a few things that happened whilst we were marching. Yeah, I'm sure you've all seen in the media that we did have some marshals that I were at the time unaware of who they were at the first march. However, those guys that I had as marshals performed excellently. They did nothing wrong. They kept everyone safe and they kept everything moving well. Now, I know that not all of you guys like them. I know that. But they are good people who were fighting for our country. They agreed in our cause and they came to help people keep them safe. Now, that group recently disbanded, which means if any of them were here, they are here as just everyday patriots. Now, a few of those guys did offer to do marshalling for me. They knew with the Invasion Day rally going on that it could get a bit messy. I said, well, all right, that's fine. You can come along. I trust you guys. You did great work the first time. They were then sent out text messages being banned from our events. We said no one will ever be banned from March for Australia. The government took that right away from us and banned them anyway. Thankfully, some of them were still able to come help marshal until the police recognised them in the crowd. These men were doing nothing wrong. They were marching with us, keeping an eye out for Antifa and infiltrators, which they had found several in our crowd. They told the police this, but they were still told that they had to move on. They were walked to the train station as if they were irresponsible little children and told to leave the city. How is it that men who aren't part of a hate group, aren't part of the NSN, we're here to keep patriots safe, we're told to get out of the city? Yet we were walking past people that were calling us racist, abusing us. In Australia, we should have freedom of political expression. We should be able to criticise our government if they are not looking after us the way they should be. Silencing Australians will not go well. We will just get louder. We will get as loud as we can, and we will make sure that our government knows that we are unhappy with what they are doing to our country. We are unhappy with patriots being banned from marching. We are unhappy with rapists being on our street, murderers being on our street, robberies happening on our streets. Australia needs to put Australians first. There's just one other thing I'd like to address before going to our next speaker. Now, this one's a bit sad. Unfortunately, in Queensland, our newest member of the MFA team is Michael. He was set to run the Gold Coast location. The night before, he was gang bashed by a bunch of Middle Easterners. Now, unfortunately, the cops, as we know, they didn't care. Today, his security from the police was taken away, even though he felt like he could be in danger. They took away his security and his assistance, and they asked us to remove the photo and the story of what happened to him. They said that story being up is inciting hatred. Essentially saying that informing fellow Australians of violent and aggressive behaviour to their people is inciting hatred. How about stop the people coming here that are abusing our country, abusing our people, and look after us? We need to send them all home. We need to shut the gates and say no more immigration. Send them back. Send them back. Send them back. Send them back! Send them back! Send them back! Send them back! Thanks everyone for coming! You're all legends! Love you all! And happy Australia Day!
Thank you, Beck.
Our next speaker is Craig Kelly. Welcome into the stage. And I'll just announce all the speakers, just stick around because we're going to get a photo of all the speakers and a couple of the marshals, if you want to, up on the stage.
Let's get that Australian flag flying as high as we can. Standing here, looking at these magnificent Australian flags, I have one word. We are winning this fight. Look at Woolworths as an example. 2 years ago, Woolworths thought they could go woke and attack Australia Day. And what happened? They lost $4 billion of their market cap. Their CEO was sacked. And this year, they've reversed that policy because patriots like you got out there and spoke up. And we're also winning. Just look at the polls on the support for Australia Day. 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was touch and go. But the thing is, the more that those that came out and those radicals, those Marxists that attacked Australia Day, the more the average Aussie, the more the Australian patriots came out and supported. So we are now seeing support for Australia Day on January 26th at record highs. So although we are winning, we must continue to be vigilant. We know there are people in this country that hate us, that hate our way of life, that want to destroy us and turn it into some Islamist, Marxist, fascist state. And we must oppose that. We must stand, and we must be brave, and we must not fear people calling us names and speak up to protect this great country. So thank you all for coming. And yes, those hate speech laws are an abomination. I agree with John Ruddick that what we need in this country, we need a referendum to enshrine freedom of speech in this country, in our Constitution. That is what we want. So thank you for coming, and happy Australia Day to everyone. It is a great day to celebrate.
A distinct purpose, but mere rot is not. Mere rot is not weakness. It's not just weakness. It is also an infestation, a parasitical one, manifested in different forms. In our country, the elite, a word that I don't like to use in this context, so I will use managerial parasites instead. The rejected lobby. They have managed to keep us conflicted within two paradigms. On one hand, they want us as mere economic units, interchangeable, atomized, and as slaves to debt and rent seeking. Essentially, soulless consumers to prop up GDP. On the other hand, they wish to unite us into a so-called multicultural melting pot, which is an oxymoron at best. In reality, they ultimately want to uniformize us into meaningless goo that can be molded to their will at their liking. Clearly, I reject both of these paradigms. To achieve these ends, the managerial parasites are eroding our concept of nationhood, and they are destroying our ability to unite as a distinct people with a distinct destiny. And as a quantifiable result, we see mass immigration. The the importation of a new slave class, a neo-slave class, for the machine. But that is not the only problem. For you see, the very neo-slaves that are being brought in, many of them, at the very least, do not like us.
They think we're imbeciles.
They see us as a distinct collective, even if many Australians don't necessarily see themselves as a distinct collective. Unless of course, it is for the sake of collective woke self-flagellation. As I said, most of these neo-slaves do not identify as one of us. And in the end, they will sell themselves out for mere morsels of pleasure, which the managerial parasites will have their way with them with their coming unchecked power. There is a saying that you should not trust anyone in power. I, however, would like to also say that you should never trust anyone without power, for they will never show their true colours until they gain it. The olive branch that we extend out to others will not be extended back when we are the minority. And we will become the minority if we do not do something soon. Do not be fooled. Many of these neo-slaves have little to no sense of honor. I do not need to cite all the economic statistics of our dire situation. It is axiomatically clear to anyone who is sane at this point. And if we do not do something soon, our living conditions will grow day by day.
Wake up, Australia! Wake up!
The noble among us naturally never want to see such a sick and wretched future. And as we stand here today, on this momentous occasion, let us promise this. We will not let that happen. Today marks a major turning point. Australia is to become both a fortress and a home, not a dog-eat-dog economic zone, nor a weird socialist experiment under an Orwellian state. While we may all have different political objectives, there is one thing that we all have to unite on, one critical issue, and that is on stopping mass immigration and to migrants who are destroying Australia. So, I want you to find anyone that you know who has at least some inkling this way and light the inner fire that is inside of them. Make that fire burn so brightly that all the people around them will be forced to change. Let today be the start of a long and prosperous future for Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. Next up, we got Josh from Young Patriots. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi! Aussie! Oi! Aussie! Oi! Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi! We're all standing here today for one reason. We love this country, its way of life, and the values that have built it. The values that began 238 years ago on the shores of Sydney Cove. We don't all agree on everything. We don't all live the same lives. We don't all think the same. But we all agree on one thing. Australia is worth fighting for. Worth protecting and worth preserving to hand off to future generations just as our forefathers did before us. By standing here today, we're sending a message. We will not stand by while our nation is changed against its people's will. We will not be silent as threats rise to our communities, to our way of life, and to our personal freedoms. Just last week, a 24-year-old man was charged with planning a terrorist attack on
on what could have very well been this march. We've seen people burn our flag and shout, "Abolish Australia," and yet somehow we're told that we're the problem and that somehow we're un-Australian. And I ask, what exactly is their definition of being un-Australian if wanting to protect our defining values makes us such? We're labelled as racists, bigots, and so-called far-right extremists. Propaganda! Yet looking into the crowd today, I ask myself, is that the description truly accurate, or are they buzzwords to force everyday Australians into submission? Fake media. Absolutely. We deserve to celebrate this day, to celebrate Australia Day. This day is not about hate, it's not about division, it's not about rewriting history by calling it Invasion Day. Australia Day always has been, always will be, about celebrating our incredible country and the achievements we've made as Australians. Australia Day belongs to us, and nobody can ever take that away from us. While I may be young, I've seen my fair share of the problems that plague modern Australia. From walking through Brisbane playing Spot the Aussie, wondering whether I'll ever be able to afford my own home, to doing assignments on refugees, where some of the sources were quite literally newspapers by those who do not align with and actively push against Australian values. Every day, more and more of my generation are told that patriotism and compassion cannot exist, and that they must choose between loving their country and being quote-unquote good people. Every day, more and more, we know that's false. Loving Australia and wanting it to thrive does not mean hatred. Loving Australia... We don't hate immigrants, but we fundamentally oppose unrestricted migration. Personal freedoms matter. Freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, and freedom of association. And when laws are passed to restrict it, it's not because we're irrelevant, it's because we matter. Because our voices are being heard, and they see us as a threat to their agenda. Governments don't silence apathy. They regulate the voices that challenge them. And the very fact that there are attempts to silence us proves that our ideas are powerful. By standing here today, in this scorching heat, we have all proven that we will fight for what we believe in, but we will not sit back, but we will not watch the land we call home deteriorate, and that we will not go down without a fight. Australia was built on the values that still matter to this day: fairness, freedom, mateship, and a belief in a fair go. These values are not outdated, they are not negotiable, and they are worth defending as long as this country stands. So today, let us be clear, Australia is worth standing up for. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Next up, we got Ferdy as our last official speaker.
Skyrocketing house prices, stagnating wages, unemployment, massive homelessness, bumper-to-bumper traffic, falling productivity. Dropping quality of life and the destruction of the Australian dream. These things didn't just happen, they happened because of mass immigration. Everyone knows it, everybody. But the moment you say it out loud, these woke mobs and radical lefty institutions label you as a racist, a bigot, the worst names imaginable. It's unbelievable. And now, under these new draconian laws, the system doesn't just try to silence you, the government will directly threaten you with punishment, possibly even for just telling the truth. That's not democracy, that's authoritarianism. Ladies and gentlemen, we are quite literally living in George Orwell's 1984. The Australian people have had enough. We see exactly what has happened. This was not an accident. This was planned. The government chose this path against the will of the people behind closed doors. What did they do? They accepted the economic management and pat themselves on the back. It was a trap, a total trap, and these useful idiots walked us straight into it. Mass immigration is the Achilles heel of the two-party duopoly. It is the uni party's biggest weakness. Because mass immigration was their will, not the public's. Labour and the Liberals imposed it, protected it, and refused to reverse it. Now, Australia is being treated like something to extract from. The bloated government takes, the universities take, global interests take, all are taking far more than they put back in. Because of this, we are now consuming far more infrastructure than we produce. Far too long, way too long. The failing politicians in Canberra have only offered us a plan to make things worse, but at a slightly slower rate. That is not good enough. So we, the Australian people, are demanding a full and total reversal of the systemic problems that are causing our country to be less Australian every day. Look at the city of Melbourne and Sydney. It's more than half born overseas. That is not fine. That is very, very bad. Whether it is the government's intention or not, Australians are being replaced. We cannot allow this to keep happening because Australia's culture primarily comes from the people who founded it. And say, for instance, we get to a point where 80% of the Australian population is born overseas from hard to assimilate countries. Well, at that point, Australia's culture will essentially have become diluted into a weaker collection of global culture. That is not what we want. We want an Australian culture, not a global culture. We want Australian patriotism, not international globalism. We have to prevent the displacement of Australians. We will not accept the demographic displacement of Australians. We won't. That's why we won't stop. We will not stop until this crony, corrupt, communist system is gone. Replaced with a nationalistic and patriotic system that puts Australia's people first. Stop mass immigration now. Vote out the Uni Party, and God bless Australia. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming.
We want you as our politician.
Thanks, guys, for hanging in there. We have one last speaker. He really wanted to speak, and he put a lot of effort in. So I just thought I would invite a couple of minutes. Feel like he please come forward. Give him a hand. And then we got a song from Lawrence, and then. Hello, everybody. To say I'm nervous would be an understatement. The last time I've done a big speech like that, probably high school.
You'll be right.
And then just to put a heap of pressure on, I had about 7 pages here that I got to cut down right now in about a minute to 1.5. So give me a bit of slack. I'll do my best, but I felt called to say something.
Go for it.
Before I go on, I got to do a bit of housekeeping. I've got a daughter, and I got to look out for my family. So due to the amount of censorship and speech laws passed in just the last few years, this speech is strictly not calling for violence or for hate of any people, and no reasonable person should fear or be intimidated by anything I say. That's how the new laws read, so I've got to say that. Anyways, with that out the way, I wish everyone a happy Australia Day. I'm glad everyone made it. We're all getting burned by the sun, but, you know, we can seek some refuge soon. Now I'm going to butcher this speech real quick. I want to speak on the systemic anti-white, anti-Christian bias in every institution that we have, and the real word we need to start getting used to saying is this is a white genocide. Yes, and it's a Christian genocide. This is not a conventional genocide with bombs and bullets, but a slow and inevitable political effort
to completely erase European and Christian identity, which is having the same outcome as if it was a military-style genocide, okay? The current demographic makeup of Australia is about 55% white, down from 90 to 95% white for 200 years. And most of this is in the last 25 years, and in another 25 years, this could be 30% or lower. There's a whole thing I got to read. I'm just going to pick parts of it. In England, one of the things that's going on that we've seen, you might have heard about it, thousands of young girls were racially targeted and put in grooming houses to be molested by multiple men per day of foreign descent. They've had drugs injected in them, acid put in their eyes. It's really dark, and this is really where we're going down with white genocide. Like, this is like how bad it can get, okay? Give me a second. You're good. It's DEI and ESG policies which explicitly call for the prioritization of non-whites or LGBTQ identifying people to be given jobs in government or the private sector, and then somehow that's not racism. It's our war memorials being desecrated. It's nitpicking history to maximize as much as possible the demonization of whites and to minimize any contribution they've made, such as ending slavery or the majority of early industrial technology. And really, the biggest issue of these policies, most of all, is that all countries that whites inhabit have had the globally orchestrated, non-negotiable policy that they want to speed run our ethnic replacement. And in a few decades, there'll be very few countries that will resemble any form of white identity or Christian morality. We also see that the erasure of Christian morality, helicopter was distracting me for a second. We also see that the erasure of Christian morality from society has created a vacuum where LGBTQ worship and the rejection of tradition and biological truths has filled the place of the gospel of Christ. And whether you're a Christian here or not, out of those two options, which one in your mind would create a more livable society? You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. Yeah, Christ is king. Absolutely, I agree. Now, imagine the exponentially more torturous conditions the future will hold for you and your children if things don't change. Imagine how bad things will be for your children where another 20 years rolls by of militant anti-white policy from institutions that you fund with your tax dollars, and when you make up an even smaller percentage of the community and thus have less demographic voting power and less demographic economic power. Well, here's the thing you don't even need to imagine. This is played out in countries like Zimbabwe and South Africa, where white farmers have been butchered. There are now laws to seize assets from white people specifically, and South Africa regularly have political rallies where they chant, "Kill the Boer," which is kill the white farmer. And now they're refugees in those areas. So that's Australia in 20 years, maybe. I want to reiterate with everyone here, I don't say these things as a way to open hostilities with people of non-European descent or non-Christians. I'm just laying out the bleak current situation and future that white people and Western society face, rather than any attack on any group of people. So with all that said, what do we do? Because we've all talked about problems here, a lot of problems this, problem that. But what do we do, right? Because that's what we need. We need actually to reverse this, change this. We must fundamentally understand that we have an organizational problem. If millions of us were organized and even dedicated an hour each week to doing anything about this issue, that 1 hour multiplied by millions of people would create a crazy amount of collective energy that would inevitably change Australia for the better. It should drive all of you crazy that if everyone did even a little bit, we wouldn't have to live in an open-air prison where our future for our kids and the sacrifice of our ancestors is in question. Now, first things first, put this in your phone calendar or just remember, because we need to do something out of this. It can't just be we got here to like have a circle jerk. We need to actually do something. So first off, we need to visit, ideally in person or call, because emails are useless, any centre-right political group, especially One Nation, but Gerard Rayner, Bob Patter, whatever's left of the Liberals and Nationals, and even Labor if they're your local MP, that you need to make this issue of white genocide the number one thing that we care about, because everything's downstream of it. Like, why do we care about house prices, or why do we care about tax policy? It's all about the survival, in a sense, of our people. So the word we're going to talk about this is white genocide. That's how we're going to umbrella this term. And this is the only thing that's really going to give us our safety and the continuity of Western culture and Christianity. Now, Pauline is polling pretty well at the moment, but I like her. Yeah, she's good, but like at the moment, she's being groomed by the same forces that made Labor and Liberals create the most dystopian speech censorship bill ever seen in Australian history. So we need to make sure that she's not groomed by those same people, and we need to apply pressure to her. So get out there. I mean this in person, and let me go to the next page. Just give me a sec. So really going there would take a fraction of the time as what it takes to actually get to this march today, which is good to see everyone here. So I want you to go in person, say, hey, we're losing all our rights, we're being ethnically replaced, here's the objective data, you can go to AI, it'll spit it all out for you in 10 seconds, you don't have to be a PhD. What are you going to do about it, Mr. or Mrs. MP? That should literally be their 8-hour shift at these offices, just patriot after patriot coming in, giving them the same concern. And when they aren't talking to a patriot in person, there needs to be patriots calling their phones, talking about white genocide and bringing back free speech, or at the very minimum, passing a bill to remove the latest round of censorship laws. So really, and this is what it comes down to, the main crux of my message is just do something. A lot of us are currently doing nothing, and we just need to do something, which is still infinitely better than nothing. We need to talk about these facts with friends and family, people at work, shift the Overton window. We need to network people, get on the same page. It could be showing up like you have today and bringing more of your mates around on the next meetup to increase turnout. Make sure. Sorry, I've already read that bit. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's giving money to Aussie businesses instead of giving money to foreigners. If everyone here bought a $5 ream of reflex paper and printed out a flyer on white genocide and referenced any of these issues, imagine if all of us did 500 letterbox multiplied by everyone here. It would create a chain reaction effect that would then create more people. It would create like a self-sustaining thing that would actually bring about change, hopefully. So we need to increase awareness on this. We need action. We can't just leave it at today, go home and get back on the couch, get on Sportsbet or whatever you do.
I was thinking about sending her like hundreds of emails to like it.
No, the emails don't work. They just go in the junk folder, trust me. So everyone here with social media is effectively an influencer. You can share stories or posts. If your friends don't like it, they're not your friends anyway. You can put up Aussie flags around the house. I'd love to see a campaign to see Aussie flags in all populated areas. We need advocacy orgs, even if it starts off as 10 or 20 people. Everything starts off like that until it's thousands. And we need places that we actually can direct funds to that lobby for us instead of against us like certain foreign countries are doing. So just do something within your particular means, your individual skills and talents every week. People might say, well, it's a risk to speak on these sensitive issues. And I say to that, there is even a greater and proven risk to not speak on these issues. So this is you and your children's, this is you. This is you and your children's livelihoods. And as I said, the collective effort of everyone would make it impossible for us not to succeed. So with that, I leave you with that. Thank you for listening to me speak. I do not advocate for any hate or intimidation. Christ is King. Thank you.
All right. we're going to go to Sydney. See what's happening here. There's a few coppers milling around. Looks like a pub, trying to slow a few folks down. This is Chris Govery's feed coming out of Sydney. The event is essentially finished in Sydney now, and Melbourne as well. I think there's going to be a song on the Gold Coast on the beach, and we will be at an end of that too. I think Chris Govery's was walking with Annika Wells along the footpath there, or at least I didn't get a good look at it. Maybe it wasn't Annika Wells, but it was certainly somebody of minor significance politician-wise. That's the only kind of person who could elicit that kind of police protection around her at the moment. They seem to be cautioning somebody for whatever reason.
It's not police
a bit of an eye on
protection.
it. It's like
It's not
police protection.
No, it's a case where apparently something was said at the protest, and the police followed a group of about 10 men out of the system and sat back quietly and are now pounced on this particular gentleman here. So it looks like he's probably going to be arrested.
Yeah, looks like it. Well, they're not making a scene out of it. They're not face planting him into a wall or cuffing him up. So,
not yet. There's too many cameras around.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Disgusting.
Political
free speech should be free. That's nuts. That's like fascism. That's fascism right there.
We're done. Like, if they can get away with this shit, how does this happen?
No, just think how many people, how many Jews died in Holocaust. And Jews arrived in Australia in 1788. They're not foreigners.
You're right. You're right.
So, by the sound of it, it was some form of anti-Semitic comment, which we all know can get you in a bit of trouble these days if there has been a comment. Looks like the coppers are just going to keep talking to him at this stage. I would hope they exercise some common sense and give him a caution. It doesn't appear so. Are you going to go and search him for bits and pieces? Maybe they're just searching for some ID, who knows. The problem we are seeking out of Brisbane at the moment, folks, is we simply cannot get a feed. It's like nobody in Brisbane filmed it, which I find really difficult to believe, or that for whatever reason the bandwidth was narrowed and the streams weren't able to get out. I get the feeling that Brisbane today would have been the march that the authorities wouldn't have wanted to get wide coverage on media like ours. That's because the mainstream media won't cover it at all, or only the bad portions of it if they get an opportunity, I'm sure. Or they will report low numbers of people going out to celebrate, or whatever. They'll dismiss it. Looks like the police are getting a bit serious with this bloke. Oh. Gee, I thought I knew him for a minute. I don't think he's the bloke I know. It would seem very strange if it was an anti-Semitic comment coming from this bloke, because the bloke I know is Jewish. So I don't think that's him. It does look like the police are getting serious, and they are about to arrest him. They just decided to try and do it away from all those cameras for whatever reason. Another form of gutless bullshit. I know the police are just going to say they're doing their job. The problem I have with the police just doing their job is that they do it when they feel like it, and then they don't do it when they don't feel like it. And evidence of that could be maybe used in what's happened to young Michael, the Gold Coast organizer who got bashed a couple of nights ago. The police, clearly there has been a police report. The police are not actioning it. The police, as you heard Beck Freedom say in her speech, have been in contact asking them to take down the photos of Michael, his bloodied face and body, bloodied and bruised, because that might incite a bad thing. Well, the bad thing has already happened. A second bad thing is happening because the police are ignoring it. A third bad thing is happening because all of the CCTV that has been installed on the Gold Coast is not being used for what they told us it was going to be used for, and that's your protection. So that if you do get bashed on a night out on the Gold Coast, odds are it will be caught on CCTV, and there are enough CCTV cameras in that city to track you to your accommodation, wherever you are. Will the police use that? Not for this young bloke, they won't, certainly. And now these coppers are going to go rolling this bloke off. They're obviously waiting for a wagon to turn up. They're going to roll this bloke off and nail him under these new Chris Minns vilification laws, I dare say. Sickening. Purely sickening. Yeah, Arabic, not Yiddish. So, yeah, he's clearly had something to say that was anti-Jewish, and you can't have anything like that these days. There you go, just waiting for the wagon for him to turn up. They haven't chucked him in cuffs, so I guess they're not making the example out of him that I kind of expected they would. Private corporation mercenaries, James. Yep, 100% right. 100% right. Found it interesting that the lady who was yelling at him saying that the Jews were here in 1788, you say that like it's a surprise, and yet they still call themselves Jewish Australians, not Australian Jews. Don't you find that interesting? Brisbane live feed YouTube A. That really doesn't help me. I don't know what the hell they've called it. I've tried every kind of word association game to play with it, but YouTube A isn't one I came up with, Scotty. So I don't know what YouTube A means. But at any rate, I gather Brisbane will be over and done with now too. It started 2 hours ago, or a bit over 2 hours ago. So we will have missed the we will have missed the boat on that, unfortunately. I'm sure there will be plenty of people who recorded segments of it, and we'll see it popping up on social media over the next little while. That is the hope, anyway. This is the admittance. Is this the admittance that the cops don't agree with what they're doing? I don't think so. They've got the bloke. They've put him in the wagon. What they do with him from here will be the interesting bit. If they take him back and charge him, then yes, they're playing the serious game. If they drive him a few blocks away and let him out, like they are apt to do with the immigrants when they cause a problem, they don't go and lock them up. They just drive them, a suburb away and let them out the back on a quiet street and say, don't go back down to where we picked you up. So whether or not that happens with this fella, who knows? I don't know what was said. Might have been most disturbing. Isn't it interesting, though? You get a look at these goons and their outfits. Look at the way these pumped-up coppers are armed against we the people. Knife-proof vest. Not bulletproof, knife-proof stab vest. How many implements of destruction, yours, do they have mounted on the chest plates of those vests? They've got lights. They've got batons. They've got tasers. They've got guns. They've got cuffs. And God knows whatever else wrapped up in there. Also, take note of the gloves they're wearing. I think you'll find that they've got reinforced knuckle gloves on, which I'm not completely sure a standard issue. But if you're going to go the knuckle on someone, you want those reinforced knuckle gloves. They do a great job. Here's a Jewish lady complaining about the world. And I'm not even going to bother turning the volume up because I know exactly what she's going to be crying about there. And on that note, I'm reckoning it's just about time we say goodbye, folks. There isn't too much left happening in Melbourne. Tony, I want to thank Tony for being our cameraman in Melbourne today. His phone eventually overheated. It did better than last time. It lasted nearly 2 hours, but it nearly burst into flames in his hand. So I told him he needed to take that phone immediately and put it in a cool place. I suggested it leaning up against a temp right of the beer taps at the pub he gets to first. that'll cool down the back of it nicely. And I think that's exactly what he's doing. So hopefully he's getting a beer. G'day to Craig and Co, who he's met up at a pub in Melbourne, just opposite, I think, Parliament House. And Belinda, hope you guys are doing well from Mount Gambier. You've come for the drive today. Thank you very much for being involved. And to everybody else who's been involved today, getting out and about and being part of it, thank you for your involvement. Vince for pushing the buttons. And I want to say thank you to Dan, who is a mate of mine. Many of you might remember a bloke called Dr. John, a man who was marvelous with animals, passed away last year. I met Dan through John, and Dan was our man on the Gold Coast today. Thank you to him for putting up those pictures. We were able to get at least the speeches from the Gold Coast event, which was really, really a great benefit. I'm sorry that we couldn't bring you anything from Brisbane. It's, not real flash. Just getting a feedback from Melbourne at the moment. Looks like, a bunch of people in the pub. Tony, I know, has got a bunch of people down there at the moment, Craig and Belinda and Co. That's the reason I don't bring them up, because the audio is just punishing on everybody's ears. But I guess if I mute the audio, I can bring it up. So you can see that everybody's managed to make it inside a venue. Oh, that one looks remarkably empty at the moment compared to what I've seen them previously, although we might have missed the rush. It's been an hour or so since things wound up in Melbourne. But, yeah, good bunch of people having a drink and no trouble. That's what we like to see. Having a wander out the front, Tony. Yeah, right opposite Parliament House. So about the best pub in town on a hot day, I've got to say. Just having a bit of a read through your comments. Yeah, brilliant. So, yeah, still a few people hanging around, but at this point in time, doesn't look like there's too much by way of trouble happening anywhere. That's great. Sydney, of course, winding down. I do have a message into Beck Freedom, and I saw somebody mention, is there going to be a show tonight? We might do a show tonight. I'd like to get a hold of Beck Freedom and have a chat with her about the day and how it went from her perspective. If that can happen, then yes, I'll do a show, but otherwise we might let it go for tonight. Vince has been going for nearly 3 hours, and he'll probably need to go to bed shortly. And I've got to go and do a couple of things as well. So we'll see what happens. But by and large, great attendance around Australia at the events we could see. I know Brisbane was going to be a very, very large event. That's why it's so surprising that no vision escaped from it at all. That we could find. And I mean, Vince and I were scouring the internet channels for feeds, and we simply couldn't find any at all. Now, Vince is also showing off his new FBN Media logo, if you notice that on the channel. Are you going to come on and talk, or are you just going to show that thing?
No, I'm going to come on and talk. I could not believe that we had no feeds coming out of Brisbane at all. It makes no sense. Absolutely zero sense.
Yeah, which makes me think that there was a very big winding back of the mobile network around Brisbane City today, so that they couldn't gain enough bandwidth to stream out. That would be my take on it. Could be wrong, but to have nothing from anybody.
Facebook, nothing at all.
No.
Right?
No.
Nothing on YouTube, nothing on Rumble, nothing on Twitter, nothing on X, nothing on Kick, the new thing there, nothing on Telegram. We were across all of those channels and we had nothing.
Yep, no, it was quite surprising. Quite surprising.
So I don't know about everybody else.
Now. So hang on a minute. Renee.
Oh, really? Where?
Live speeches now at Robot. What the bloody hell is Robot?
Okay, hang on.
So, and why would they be streaming on these bullshit channels that nobody watches?
No, at Robot Andy. It might be just the name of the guy.
Oh, true. Righto. Yep. At YouTube. They're saying the speeches are on now. Well, That's 2 hours worth of speeches, potentially.
Is there a
YouTube.
space between that, Renee? Is there a space at Robot Space Andy, or is it one because YouTube doesn't recognize it? Or is it not on YouTube?
Okay, there is just Robot Andy. No, nothing. Yep, okay, I got it.
You've got it?
It's led us to this place. It's been talked about already, so I don't want to go over common ground, but I just didn't think I'd live in a country where we wouldn't have manufacturing, we wouldn't be making cars, we wouldn't be looking after family farms and trying to keep small family-owned businesses together, that we'd have, we'd have Muslims burning our flag down in the Sydney Opera House, and then people that disagree get the ones that they go after. I'm watching this stuff on TV and the media, and can't believe what I'm seeing. We've got teachers identifying as cats in school. We've got kitty litter boxes in bloody schools for our kids. This is madness. And people laugh at us for calling that out. I'll go into that parliament in Queensland, they'll be laughing, screaming at me for calling this stuff out. That's how far we've come. That's how far detached we are here, these people here, to our political system. And I want to come back to that. So this is the start of this has been the spawn of a cultural movement and very deliberate to tear all our institutions down. A manifestation of those institutions being Australia, so it's one they directly target, which is why we're here to say we're here. Despite that, we are here because we're not afraid to say we will celebrate Australia. So talking about immigration. Actually, I did want to make a point building on that. I remember as a party we got together before the first rally, and you get the advisors, MPs in the room, and someone saying, "Oh, look, be careful. I don't know if we can do this rally because they'll brand us as neo-Nazis, brand us." And I'm not trying to sound like the hero, but I said that's exactly why we've got to go. Like, if you're saying that now, imagine what it's like for the Liberal Party, Labor Party, and everyone else. They're going to have everyone in there say, "Don't dare go," and we all get scared of going. That's exactly why you've got to go. To prove that we will stand here. We're not scared of you calling us names. And you can say whatever you want. We're going to turn up. A good thing that defines immigration, I think, in Australia and how I feel about it. I was in a roadhouse in remote Queensland where I represent. I live in far north western Queensland. And I was at a roadhouse one night and an Indian bloke was serving me at the counter. I knew him. He'd been out there for a few years, managing a few of those roadhouses. And I said, "Is he around?" They said, "Yeah." And he said, "Mate, Robbie, wait. I've got to talk to you, mate. I've got to talk to you." I thought, here we go, he's going to have a go at me about the immigration because I was just at the rally the week before. He said, wait. And he's black as the ace of spades, this fella.
I'm really sorry, mate. Someone's fainted and we need the paramedics over here. Yeah. I thought that was worth interrupting you for. Sorry. So we got the paramedics. Apparently someone's fainted over there. So follow this guy here, paramedics. Yeah, if we can sort it out over there, that'd be great.
Real good. Okay. So, this bloke, he's black as the ace of spades, and he's come to me, said, "Robbie, I just want to talk to you about this immigration stuff." He said, "Good on you for you and your dad, what you're doing." He said, "I come over here and I bloody work, and see these bastards down there, they don't work. They get this enclave." He said, "I'm out here working, That's what it's like. He's an Australian. He's coming out here to work, to contribute. He loves the country. That's an Australian, and everyone made a big joke when Dad was bailing up that journalist over here that day because they kept saying, "Oh, you're Lebanese, you've got some of your family heritage from Lebanon." He said, "I'm not Lebanese, I'm Australian." And he's drummed that in me since I was a kid. He always said, "You're not this, you're not English, you're Australian, mate. We're Australian." And that's why he got so angry, because he hates the concept of saying you're defined by what you are in your past. You are Australian. If you come here, you love it. You want to defend this country. You want to nationalise a lot of our interests and say that we can manufacture things, that we can have small business, we can do these things ourselves, we can support ourselves. He said that makes you Australian. They're the values we want, and you're welcome here. If you want to do that, if it's immigration, No immigration without assimilation. You want to come here, you better love the country as much as we do. And no doubt it's got to be stopped at the moment. No question. And, a little thing, cheeky thing I'll add in too. When in hospital cleaners up in Mornington Island, the Aboriginal community up there in the Gulf at the moment, you want to come over here, go and do a toilet cleaning job up at Mornington Island. Don't hang in these enclaves in Sydney. There's plenty of places you can be used out in the remote areas if you want to come over, if you're so desperate to come over here. But they never do. They let them just do what they want, take up the housing that Australians would have, otherwise have. And I think that's the great arbiter. When we're letting people in, it's will you defend this country? Will you defend this country like I will? Because if you're not, I mean, some of these buggers, I reckon would be fighting for the other side if we went to war. That should be a pretty good arbiter of whether they should be allowed in the country or not. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the political dimension of all this, because it's great that we're here. We have this movement building in Australia, and movements are very distinct to political parties and politics. It's a horrible bloody institution, but it's the best thing we've got at the moment that governs our laws is the Parliament. And you need numbers in Parliament. And I've had family in politics now for 100 years. I just counted before in Australia. My grandfather, my dad, and myself now 14 years. I don't know if that's anything to brag about. When someone spends so much time in it, I don't respect it so much. But it's what we've got to work in and fight in that place. And we need people, when he's bums on seats, to translate what we're saying here, these values. We need to translate that into legislation to turn this stuff around. And that's the problem lies therein. And we've got 3 seats here in Queensland. We've isolated 3 or 5 seats. We've just mainly kept to just North Queensland most of our 14, 15 years of life. Dad's been in Parliament 50 years. Our party's been around 14, 15 years. One Nation's doing fantastic at the moment in the polls, and hats off to Pauline. And, I've got utmost respect for Gerald Brennick and Senator Babbitt. There's so many people here playing around in the same area at the moment, and what keeps coming to me is, what are you doing? What are you doing? You need to come together. And Sam Bamford, I was watching him the other week, and he hit me between the eyes. He said, you guys got to drop your ego and start working together. And that doesn't mean just one join the other. That means you've got to work together. And I think that's what you people want to see. And I've got to eat that as well. Like, we like running around and show you've got your principles and values you've had there for 90 years in the family. You want to keep that going. But I think what you people deserve is to translate this movement in Australia, to not let it just end up in one election or one term or one entity. I think we need to come together. I think we've all got something to contribute. And that's the commitment I give to you people here today. I think it's what Australia needs. It's been wanting for. And Sam, I think you had it right. I think a lot of us have to bury our egos and come together. There's 2 seats that we've lost in Queensland from this bickering that we've had as minor parties, and the big major parties just end up winning. We've got to beat that, and that's what I commit to you here today. God bless.
We're going to have a song, and then we do have a fair few speeches, but we're going to keep them quicker, shorter, because we know we respect your time. So a quick song, and then we'll bring it on.
Need the mic, bro. All right, it's getting serious, ladies and gents. You guys know this one. Oh, you power? You there? We just started. Here we go. We need you to help us sing this one.
Oh, I've lost my little background. We might just pull out there because I'm going to get us banned for copyright if I start playing out AC/DC songs. Robot Andy on YouTube is where that feed was coming from. If you want to go and be a part of that, then you can go and join him on there. I think we've missed the main speeches. Robbie Katter would probably have been, I would expect, the last big name on a list of very big names. Could be wrong. We'll keep an eye on it. I know that Babbitt was there today, Senator Babbitt, that Rennick was getting up to speak, that One Nation were very well represented with Pauline and I think Malcolm Roberts. Wouldn't be surprised to find there were a couple of other names floating around there too. They will have been at the head of all this, obviously. So we might take this opportunity, Vince, to bow out at this stage, and I will post a link up to the YouTube site if you want to continue following. I'll put that into our comments right now, and that will take you to Robot Andy's site. Thank you to Robot Andy for letting us jump on the back of that, and it was a nice little feed. So yeah, useful. Probably could make myself full screen, but what's the point? Vince, bring you up, say goodbye. Thank you very much for your help. And it's not easy sitting around. It's not easy sitting in the back trying to put everything together, is it?
No, not when we were fighting each other for control of microphones and stuff. It was interesting.
Well, you keep on. I keep turning them off. So
yeah. That was. I was trying to turn it off. And anyway, doesn't matter. And apparently, that feed has been going for 2 hours and 16 minutes.
Yeah, I think you were probably searching it for under a name. I wasn't searching for Australia Day Rally. All right?
No, I was just doing straight lives. I asked for every live that YouTube was doing, right?
Yeah, I pretty much did the same thing.
It was not coming up. So I'm wondering if there was some restriction happening that might have been asked for by a particular corporate government that we know about. Not that I'm throwing out conspiracy theories or anything like that, but, it seems pretty bloody obvious. Look at the size of the crowd. Oh, you can't. I'm watching it, and the link is up. But the crowd is quite large.
Yes, right? It is. Very large. I'm just trying to get to a point where the speeches started, and maybe we can
roll back. Yeah, I can roll it back.
That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to see at which point Pauline spoke, and if we can get that bit of audio. The camera appears to be a long. So from what I can see, just let me see if I can flick through it. Here, initial camera position was behind the stage, which wasn't helpful. And I'm just trying to get to
120 marching.
I'm at
marching. In actual fact, I'm at 51 minutes and they're still marching. Marching.
Yeah, it was quite a long march through Brisbane by the look of it. All right, let's see who's speaking here.
Right. That might have been their very first speaker.
That's Ed Shaw's speech.
30 minutes. I'm down to the last 30 minutes.
Oh, maybe Pauline hasn't been on yet. I can't see her yet. What we're doing, folks, is just going back through this guy's stream to try and see if we can find Pauline or Malcolm. Oh, I found Malcolm, I think. No, that's Robbie Katter. So by the looks of it, Pauline may not have been on yet. That was quite a long speech from Robbie Katter, if that's the case. Mind you, the Katters have never been shy in having a chat. The Katter Australia Party, we'll just wait get to the end of this band. All right, somebody's back up speaking, so let's see. I'll bring this up.
Day, I hope you do. But one thing we have to do is when you leave a void and you're not clear on it, something else moves in. Now, the spineless government, yes, but also the people have decided the future of this country. So now it's time for the people to rise up and to restore their belief in Christianity. For your forefathers and your great-grandparents, I can guarantee you, returning up to church and the principles that founded this country, we've slipped away from, and therefore the blessing has been removed from this country. So I propose that politicians who believe in the faith, those who have the guts to stand up and not protect their career, would start to table a Christian Values Act. A Christian Values Act must be put forward so that a stake is put in the ground, so when you come into this country, before you even come in, you realize that it's a Christian nation. So therefore, Islam cannot just walk in and do what it wants. Sikhism cannot just walk in and do what it wants. It's not racism. It's just protecting and guarding and standing strong for the principles in which this country is founded on. Right now, Sikhism in New Zealand is rampant. They're allowed to carry swords legally. They can jump on their motorbikes with their turban. They don't need a helmet. Meanwhile, when me and my brothers, we did a stand not too long ago, we jumped on our Harleys, no helmet, fine. Can you hear what I'm saying? There's two sets of laws going on. It's now time for the people to put a stake in the ground and say, this country, Australia, is a Christian country. Thank you.
Pastor Sam, give these guys a big thank you. They volunteered for security today, so they saved us lots of money. Very generous of them. Now we've got Malcolm Roberts. One Nation. This man, he's been paid for oil. He is the heart of One Nation, and we're very grateful for him to be here today. Thanks, Malcolm. Legend, buddy.
Love, care, and reasoning are three fundamental unique traits that are unique to human beings. I want to thank you so much for your love and your care for Australia Day and for Australia. Give yourselves a pat on the back. It's the best thing you can do today. And for your reasoning, because you know But what you're doing here is protecting our country, actually restoring our country. You're the first step. Look at all the proud Aussies. Give yourselves another cheer. Come on, really put your heart into it. That's it, wave the flag. I want to thank everyone for being here, every single person. I want to thank the Young Nation volunteers in the tents down there that have provided water. Thank you so much. Any young people want to sign up with Young Nation, go ahead there. I want to thank especially the Jesus Christ banner and the group that's supporting that. That is very, very important. So thank you so much for bringing Christianity back. I want to thank a wonderful lady, I won't mention her name because I haven't got permission, sitting right here in the front row. She's had serious treatments. She got out of hospital just a few days ago. Serious operations. She's here. And she said, I can't march, but I'll be there. I want to thank the Queensland Police Service and the Australian Federal Police. Yeah. I want to thank the band. The band have done a great job. Yeah. The one thing that I want you all to remember is they tried to cancel Australia Day and failed because we, the people, said, no, go to hell. The approval ratings for Australia Day are now soaring again, getting back. The work is ending. This matters because there are two structures on which civilization is built. The family, and they're trying to destroy that, and the nation state, and they're trying to destroy that. Your work is extremely important. The second thing I want you to remember is they're now aiming to cancel Australia, not Australia Day, Australia. In 1901 through to 1920, we had the world's highest income per capita. They're destroying our country now. How? Energy, cost of living, housing, immigration, bureaucratism, woke, many, many ways. There's one really important way that's affecting all of those, and that's mass immigration. I'm an immigrant.
Hopefully that'll come back shortly and we'll actually get the rest of that conversation that he was about to say.
I wasn't sure if it was just my connection or if it's something that's happened at their end. Something that can happen at these events. Yeah, and that looks to me like his phone battery's gone flat, which is a bit tragic.
Yeah,
but he's been
surprised me. He's been going for 3 hours or something.
Yeah, yeah. So he, unless he has a another, yeah, no, feed has dropped. So I would say that's exactly what's happened. I will go back to his site, and we'll see. Well, he may have access to another battery, or at least a charger, but the phone will get exceptionally hot live streaming and plugged in at the same time, particularly if he's plugged into just a cheap little power bank, and you'll find that that won't probably be as successful for a live stream, having played around with this sort of technology for a while myself. So I'm just going to sit off this a little bit longer and see whether or not a feed returns to Robot Andy's site, but I'm pretty confident that his battery ran out, and I cannot find any other.
No, but what we can do, and I'm just trying to queue it up now, is we can have a, Chris Scovery's had a bit of a discussion with Beck after it. So I'm going to try and just grab that, see what that little bit of conversation was. So if you want to talk for a second, Carl.
I'm just putting in Australia marches. and I get cricket scores. It's ridiculous. And nothing popping up coming out of Brisbane. Everything is already finished in Melbourne and Sydney by the look of things. So I guess that's what it is. I've actually put a request into Beck Freedom to see if she wanted to come on for a bit of a chat, but I gather she will be in the midst of... Oh, hang on one moment. I do have a link I can send her. Oops, got to find the link now. So I might be able to get Jay, if I can get this link copied. And
okay. So while we're waiting for that, I'll just add this to the screen. So just give us half a minute.
okay, so we might get Beck or we might get Jay. You'll appreciate, folks, we're winging this, so
yeah, 100%.
Trying to find live feeds from Brisbane.
Right. So if we add that to the stage, and we put that up in full screen, we should have, once I take the sound off, this is the interview that happened just after Beck had done her speeches.
How's your day been? What was it called? Beck?
The Irish Bar.
Oh, not sure. I am live. How's your day been?
Interesting.
Yep. Can I talk to you away from the Jen? Like, I got questions, but I want to hear.
I'm gonna head off. Actually, split my pants, not be able to kill us.
I'll come to that later. Could you stand to the side?
We're gonna head off.
Down for 1 sec.
The Irish Bar.
Beck, so tough day. Yeah. The organisation got better from when I last saw you. But what happened between now and then?
Between now and then, March for Australia got moved to a different organising group with like different cops because my normal ones that are great are doing the Invasion Day rallies, which apparently, by the way, there was riots breaking out. By the way, there was no riots in ours, but you know.
It's okay. I got to keep it close. Look, with it. So you had a grand. When did they change the leadership team that engaged with you?
About 2.5 weeks ago. Now, also, the number that I was given for Mitch Owen, it was never answered. So Mitch Owen was the person that I was told to speak with.
Your liaison,
he was
yeah.
meant to call me, and he didn't. So I called my old guys and I said, "What's going on, mate? Like, who am I speaking to? I've got stuff I need to talk about." So they had to email him and say, "You still haven't called Beck Freedom. You need to call her." Then I spoke to him very briefly and I said, "Okay, but what's going on with the new laws coming in?" All that crap. So it was around that time. What these guys are making me nervous.
What's going on?
More Riot Squad keep coming up. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, what happened with you said the Riot Squad did. Sorry, I'm just keeping an eye on. You never got an eye for. No, it's all right. Oh, no, Strawbridge is okay. He's all right.
I need to talk.
I think.
Yep, just give me a minute. I'm just doing something. at the moment.
But so you had a different group. Let me come away from the sound so I can hear you a bit better. As lovely as he is.
It's great.
He is great. So you got a different leadership team. Mitch Owen, handed over to Mitch Owens, who doesn't engage with you. Emails have to be sent.
Yep.
So during
I probably made in excess of 50 calls. So I mean, if they looked it up, they could claim that I was stalking almost. That's how often I was calling them. I would never get a call back. I got a call when our thing had been authorised and the laws were like, "Okay, it's out of your area." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
What happened today that you said some of the attendees or your marshals were being rounded up?
Yes. So we did have recently disbanded members of NSN as marshals today. Now, they are not NSN. NSN does not exist anymore. Okay? They were here as everyday patriots.
I'll come back to this. But yeah, what happened today?
They were removed. They were not served PSO orders or anything
Was
like
it
that.
leadership? Was it Jack Altus and other?
Nope.
But you knew
ones
that.
that weren't even known.
So they got removed.
They got plucked out of the crowd and walked directly to the train station and told that they had to leave. Even though
Had they previously received an order and disobeyed that?
all the ones that received orders stayed away. These ones were not told.
Well, did the guys comply?
Yeah, 100%. They left. They left because they didn't want to cause trouble. But they did say, look, we are concerned about Antifa that we have seen in the crowd.
Melbourne is, I will agree. Melbourne, August last year, Antifa was a real actual threat and police did abandon it. I will agree with that.
And police said to the guys that they removed today, we don't care. They said we're here as marshals, as everyday patriots, to help keep everyone safe. And
Sure, they are
told
no
to
longer
leave.
members.
Well, the
But they
Unison doesn't
complied.
exist.
They complied.
They complied. They did the right thing. They did what the cops said. They left fine, and yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, what was then to happen if something happened? My marshals then being ripped away from me, who were within their legal rights to be here.
Can I say, going through the Surrey Hills streets, I was just waiting for an incident to occur. And I don't mean a light up, pushy, shovey. The past week of your Gold Coast organiser, of the arrest, which congratulations to the police and thank you to the police to stopping that Molotov cocktail planner. I had my eyes on the balconies waiting to see someone who was not going to be throwing tomatoes, shall I put it that way. I'd actually be happy. I'd be like, yeah, throw the tomatoes, veggies, whatever, that's fine. Yeah, it's all good. Good fun, right? And not even rocks either. I try not to be one for hyperbole, but I've been doing this for a bit. And in case you remember the Opera House riot it turned into, I didn't go to that. You know where after October 7, October 9, I didn't go to that because I told everyone this is going to be out of control. I just generally have a finger on or try to. So I do. You gotta go. I'll let you go. Okay. Well, can I keep you?
Yeah, I'll be packing up.
Can I keep you? Or do you... Go.
I know what that woman's going to complain about. I'm not interested in hearing it. So Beck's going to get a woe is me story from that Jewish lady. She's the same one that happened to be involved in the arrest that we put forward earlier. You might have seen her get recognised then. So very disappointing that the police did what they did. They clearly made it much more difficult for the March for Australia in Sydney to take place, removing the usual liaison officers and putting them in charge of a different set of rallies, the Invasion Day ones, which interestingly got no coverage as far as I could tell, although I haven't been searching for Invasion Day rallies. Not at all surprised to find that there's riots broken out. I did see some pictures earlier on another channel. They were just stills. I believe they were, might have been news.com.au. You go and bring that up again. Because, of course, there will always be a media cameraman there, a mainstream media cameraman, to take those sorts of photos and then attribute the entire group doing that, which isn't the case at all. I don't think it was news. Abolish flags burned in Invasion Day rallies. Here we go. It's the second lead story on news.com.au. Pauline Hanson addresses pro-Australia Day marches. Thousands joined nationwide Invasion Day protests. Not thousands come out to celebrate Australia. Listen to that toothless piece of shit. Thousands of people are taking to capital city streets amid heavy police presence as Invasion Day marches and March for Australia rallies are held. Well, there's some interesting banners being put up at the Invasion Day. God, they cry about the no room for racism on stolen land. Yeah. Whole heap of useless arguments that we've heard before, but a good reason to come out and burn a flag, teach some Aboriginal youth of this nation just how disrespectful you can be, and live off the government tit for the rest of your life. Congratulations to Aboriginal elders teaching their kids that. You must be so proud. You think that burning an Australian flag is going to change your lot in life? You think coming out and claiming your land was stolen from you 238 years after it was settled by people who I have no relationship with, never did? You think that's going to settle this for you? What would make you happy? For us to tear up all the roads, all the infrastructure, take away all the tax money and the money that you get so that you could have this land back to whatever the bloody hell you think it should be, but certainly not with any of the infrastructure and certainly not with any of the money that funds you these days. What would you actually do? It's not a day to go and get angry at Aboriginal peoples because, as I said earlier in the broadcast, I think the idea of sharing the morning with a view to acknowledging what happened 238 years ago when the Europeans came to Australia, then I think that's quite reasonable. And in the afternoon, we celebrate being Aussies together. Together. But what are you going to do with the little boy? And in this post on news.com.au, there is a picture of an Aboriginal man beside a young Aboriginal boy who might be 12, 13 years old if he's lucky. And he's showing him how to burn the Australian flag. Do you think those kind of people, that adult in particular, is the kind of bloke who's going to acknowledge that, oh, well, you know, we're not going to revert back to anything. You don't offer an alternative. So the best we can do is say, okay, we get an acknowledgement every Australia Day that it began with the invasion, if you like, of the Europeans into Australia or into this country. But then from midday, we should also be able to acknowledge the benefits that have been reaped by all Australians since that time. And yes, there have been mistakes. We acknowledge that in the morning. In the afternoon, we go and play a game of cricket against each other or for each other, with each other. But I can't see that these militant bastards that go off on Invasion Day protests are going to be happy with that. And these people remind me of the trolls, you know, barking at cars. They just bark until one day they catch the car. And then they think, shit, what am I going to do with it? What would these foolish people do if they actually got what they asked for? They'd be left off the public tit, nobody supporting them. They'd have to get off their ass and find something to do. And of course, given the current Australian government, there aren't enough jobs out there for the Indigenous Australians, and I mean all of us, white, black, brindle, blue, pink, yellow, green, because a lot of those jobs are being taken by imports, being brought in on visas, work visas, school visas, study visas, all sorts of different things. And what is the Aboriginal nation of this nation doing to fix that? What are these people who are complaining about Invasion Day while, you know, using their publicly funded go card to get to the event or get home again, or using their publicly funded, do they still give them, I wonder, taxi chits? You know, so you don't have to pay for it. You just hand the taxi cab a piece of paper and the government pays for it. They probably do it via Uber these days. Will they be going off to the pub to celebrate after this, or will they be going off to try and feed the hungry and the homeless from their own ranks? They won't be doing anything like that. They'll be going home to watch themselves on YouTube burn an Australian flag and teach a 13-year-old how to do it. You must be so proud of yourselves. You make no impact at all on Australians like me other than disgust. Because if that's the best you can come up with, you're of no use to the general population of this nation. You've got nothing to add to it. All you want to do is stir up the public tit you've been sucking on for most of your life, I suspect. And what are you going to do if it gets turned off? You're just going to squeal louder. You're looking at one Aussie that doesn't give a shit. I do hope you have a wonderful Australia Day, folks. Get out, do something with your friends, do something with your family, wave a flag, have a meal. And tonight, if you happen to be in Brisbane and lucky enough to have tickets, go along and check out the new One Nation movie, which has its Australian premiere this evening in Southbank. The movie is called A Super Oh, God, isn't that? I've forgotten. Let me just type in, because I'm sure I put it in here earlier. A super progressive movie. There you go. Shouldn't be that hard to think of, but it's just a really weird title. A super progressive movie gets its Australian launch nationally tonight in Brisbane. There are 2 screenings of it, I believe. Then it's going off around the nation to capital cities, Canberra, Sydney. It was going to be held in Parliament House. I don't think it is anymore. It might not be going to Canberra. But Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and I'm pretty sure it's going to have an airing in Perth at some stage as well this week. You can pay, I think it's either $12.99 or $14.99 to order or pre-order the live or the stream of the movie. It will not be going into cinemas. You won't get it on YouTube or anywhere like that. It is a stream that you pay to access, and once you've got it, I don't know what you're going to do with it. I'm sure they'd prefer you didn't share it around without it being paid for, but I get a feeling their server is going to be overwhelmed on the day of release. I'm not sure that the day of release will be, well, I'm sure it won't be today or tomorrow or any day until the major capital city releases are done in the cinemas. There wouldn't be any point. So I've heard that it'll be the 30th, I think, that it's going to be released and available for you to watch in the comfort of your own lounge room for, I think it's $14.99. So keep an eye out for that as it comes close to you. We are going to love you and leave you there, folks. Vincenzo, thank you for your efforts. You've done magnificently well. Unfortunately, everything has gone dead out of Brisbane at the moment. And that is the problem with live feeds when you do things like marches, and the march goes for what must have been close to an hour and a half in Brisbane, judging by the video that or the live that we joined. And then there was some speeches before that. So his thing either got very hot or it died, and haven't been able to pick another one up out of there. So unfortunate, but we'll try and grab a bit, and I'll have some highlights, if you like, in tomorrow night's show. Thank you again, Vince. Been a big day.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the start of the wake up, and for our Aboriginal brothers, right? I know there's a great many of you that want to be just one with us, right? It's a smaller group than, and guess what? I hate to say it, but it's time you guys stood up against your brothers, your other brothers, and say, get over it. Right? Happy to share a day. I think that's actually a good idea, but
I
anyway,
would think that there is going to be a particular slant of hate on Australia Day coming from mainstream media or certain areas of it. Just be aware of that, folks, and take news.com.au for what they are. Piece of shit. I don't know that they've got a reporter who's older than 21 years of age there. Their stories are so junior in nature and AI produced. So I haven't been a follower of mainstream media in a while. I check out news.com.au because I usually find that's where the largest amount of bullshit lies. Shortly after that, I'll click on Sky News and see what they're saying. But
ABC, go watch ABC News Channel on YouTube, and then go and make a comment. Oh no, you can't, because it's still turned off. Sorry, who pays your bill? Right?
I'm sorry, I can't watch the ABC for that very reason. It makes me
There's
sick.
one other channel that doesn't have comments on it as well, which is really ridiculous. Afraid you might actually get told the truth. ABC. And the other one, which I can't remember.
They're afraid of getting SBS.
No, it's not. SBS had comments on. I was shocked. It actually has it on.
Wow.
Right, but
There you go.
it's one of the other ones. So it might be Channel 9.
Oh, yes. Well,
Just now, because I've raised it. Let's just actually check that. Actually, no, we won't. We spend enough time on here.
We have.
Goodbye,
All right,
everybody.
it's been fun while it lasted.
Hope you enjoyed the stream.
Mate. Yeah, give us a thumbs up and a like. We have, I believe, some winners, Vince, in our lottery.
Oh, yes, we do. We have 2 winners in our lottery. I haven't had a contact. Well, they may have contacted us today. So some lucky winner is now the proud owner of $200 nearabouts of Bob's. So, and there's $750 cash awaiting for another one. Once they tell me that they were happy to give their names out, I'll let you know. And
So
lottery number 10 has started.
Oh, it has
But
started?
It is
Oh, okay.
only, yes, it is only $750. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Because I
No
haven't got
special
more silver to
prices.
give you at that price anyway. You're quite right. An individual Byron Bob 1/10 at the moment would be $20.05. You get 10 of them in what we're sending you, so that would be 200 nicker and a bit.
Yep.
So congratulations to the winner of the Byron Bobs and to the winner of the $750, which is quite spectacular. If you are interested, price of silver right now, $107.78 US, and that's dropped down from 108 as it was earlier. The silver spot price at Ainsley Bullion at the moment is $155.86. Gold has gone up $7,327.39.
Whoa, back. It's a public holiday today. So that's gone up today. So you were like a thing out of getting $150. And you
well,
did
as
this
it turned
big
out,
apology.
I was sort of a 15th out and sort of not. The price went over $150. It went to $150.30 for about 30 seconds, and then dropped back to $149.79 or whatever it was, and that's where it stopped, where trading stopped. So it did break 150, but it didn't stay there. And so yes, I said based on the Ainsley spot price, I was 21 cents short. But if you went to one of the other bullion sellers in the country, for instance, who also have a ticker running, their ticker is consistently $3 to $4 more on the spot price than Ainsley Bullion's. I'll let you figure out what that means. But their price was 153 something or other. And if I had have been judging how close I was off their ticker, I would have made 150 by the end of the week. So,
well, mate,
that's how that played out.
We're going to have to give you a new nickname. Instead of calling you Carl, the voice of freedom, we're going to have to sit there and say the Silver Oracle.
Oh no, we don't give advice. There's no advice. I'm just saying buy silver because I like shiny things, and you might too. And shiny things pay off. If you throw a shiny thing in the ocean, a fish generally bites it, and you can eat that night. And if you get a lot of these shiny things, for God's sake, don't throw them in the ocean. But there might be a lot of fish that come biting on them. Just all the same, just be prepared. So advice is go out and get an ounce, go out and get a tenth, go out and get half an ounce, go out and get half a kilo, whatever it is you can afford to buy, get into the market. Vince will be very, very pleased to know, I can see the smile on his face already, that the price of silver in kilo form at spot price is $5,011. If you were looking to buy a kilo of silver at the moment, you are going to pay anywhere from $5,600 to $5,800 plus dollars, depending on which markets you go to and where, and what sort of delivery you're hoping to get. So if you've got a stash, congratulations, hang on to it. There is still a lot more coming in this market, and even now they're talking prices of $500 US, and that's something that Donald Trump is endorsing. But that's something we'll leave for another night. In the meantime,
you mightn't have caught the show the other night with wonderful Mark still not being able to make it because nobody wants to work on a Saturday night, I tell you. He keeps having to do overtime. But in that show, I had like about $130 odd I'd bought as silver tokens on CoinSpot, right? And I pointed out that over the 4 weeks that I've had those tokens, which are backed by Ainsley Bullion, I actually made $45.
Wow.
Over 4 weeks. right? So I'm actually just going to have a quick look at my wallet right now, because now that it's gone up again, I am curious as. Right, so approximate change I have currently, it says I have $178 in there now. The change has been $52.36 to the plus.
Wow.
Right, and that was off like $130 or less
And
than
so-
$120 when I first bought it.
And so if you chose to right now, you can, with a few clicks, transfer that money into a silver coin, which is $170.
Not quite. That's
Not
not
quite?
how that works, unfortunately, no. The way that it works, I can sell it now and get it back as cash, but I'd need $250 to redeem this before that's just the fee that Ainsley charges to redeem it as silver. But the
I
beauty
see.
is that it is backed by them. It's off. The silver is tokenized, but it's in their safe.
Yeah. It's accounted for.
But I don't
and
care.
is
Yeah.
real tangible asset. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh, well, that's
I-
very exciting.
Yeah. $52 richer today. Thank you, Carl.
And
yet again.
And the Ainsley Saver account for folks who
Does.
thinking about, well, I've missed the bus now, Carl. You know, it's $175, $180 to buy a coin. It's too much. Well, through the Ainsley Saver account, you can buy fractionally. So that means if you've got $10 a week you can put into it, then you can start buying $10 of silver every time you put $10 in. Now, you don't get to hold $10 worth of silver because it'd be a speck and you wouldn't find it, but you get to keep it through their Ainsley Saver account, which is also backed by real silver. And once you've accumulated enough, so let's say, for instance, you want to take $50 a week out of your paycheck, let's say, and just put it into the Ainsley Saver. And at some point at the middle of the year, I don't know how many, 26 times 50, Vince, how much is that? So you might have a bit over $1,000 or $1,500 in the account, let's say. That gives you enough to go and buy a few coins, quite a few coins, or 5 ounces or whatever you can afford at the time, whatever the price of silver says. So you can just send emails to Ainsley and say, swap this out of my Ainsley Saver into real silver, thanks very much, and I'll be in to collect it. And they say, yep, no problems. That's how easy it is. So you can buy it at $5, $10 a week, whatever you can afford, weekly, fortnightly, monthly. The Ainsley Saver is very definitely worth looking into for people who can't amass, enough money to go and buy an ounce of silver or an ounce of gold in one hit. And that's really beneficial. I think it's one of the best things ever. So think of it as putting your change in it from shopping, go to the end of your accounts every day and round out to the nearest dollar, round down to the nearest dollar, throw the cents in that Ainsley Saver account every day, and you'll be amazed at the way that will add up, particularly with the way the silver price is going. So,
okay. So just to add to that, and the advantage of using the Ainsley Saver account is that, unlike what I've got happening on the tokens on the crypto exchange, which I'll just show you, unlike those tokens here that I have to pay $250 to redeem, you do not have to do that in the Ainsley Saver account. It's already pre-managed. It's already there. So,
yep.
And look, I did this on the 5th of January. I put in $127.16. Right now, if you were putting away 20 or 30 or 50 or 40 bucks a week or whatever, how quickly do you think that this would start to build like this? So from there, now we're up to $174 over from the 5th of January to now. And if you had that in an Ainsley Savers account, you understand what I'm saying? So it's a brilliant, brilliant option. And I really must do that too. But this was because of the crypto show, so I was showing it. So $120 worth of silver. How many days are we in now? 26, 15 days to make $54 or $52.36. It's right there. 41.6% increase.
Bet you don't get that out of your bank.
No. Anyway,
look,
let me remove my bank.
We have to point out for those playing along, this isn't the norm for silver.
No, true.
We are experiencing something very unique, very special, and quite literally, I believe, once in a lifetime. It is, I think, what we've been hearing about for, in some cases, tens of years, in some cases, just a few years. But this is the currency reset, the beginning of the currency reset, I believe, that we've all been hearing. And you can be on one side or the other. There is no middle ground with this. You either have something of value that you can store your wealth in, or you do not. You either have precious metals or you have paper. It is up to you to make that choice, because when the crunch comes, as the old movie says, there can be only one.
Which is what's being said there by
Do you remember the name of the movie though, Vince?
It's one of the Star Wars movies.
No.
Can't think which one. No. What? It's not.
There can be only one.
No.
Highlander.
Sorry, mate. Oh, good grief. That's going back years.
There you go.
All right.
Goes to show that I used to be
think-
involved in video movie businesses at the very beginning of when video movies were available on VHS cassette to hire. I worked at Civic Centre Television in Hamilton, where we sold the first VCRs in the country and opened one of the first rental libraries. And Highlander was something I watched a lot.
Yeah. People, I think that we should give Carl the night off, and I think everybody else should go and enjoy some time with their family. So I'm making the executive decision. There is no show tonight unless Beck gets back. That's about the only reason that we would come on.
Yeah.
How's
Yeah.
that?
And
Executive
and as the-
decision on the guy who owns. Yeah, but anyway.
Thank you, brother. You've done well. And I think as we heard in the chat with Beck there before, I think they're heading off to the Irish bar. So good luck to them. They'll be able to have a drink or 4 or 5 and enjoy the afternoon. And I don't really want to interrupt them. I think it's been a pretty great success from the March for Australia perspective, from the whatever they called it in Brisbane March to the March for Australia March on the Gold Coast. I will say one thing about the Gold Coast speeches. I was very impressed to see so many young people stand up and speak on behalf of Australia and Australian values. It wasn't a bunch of decrepit old antiques like myself standing up and railing against the bloody system. It was young people showing they are awake, they are very aware, and they are not going to stand for what's being done to us. So I was really encouraged by a lot of what I heard there.
Yep. There also, just as a reminder, we've got the new shop coming into play shortly. And
that's right.
With that, we will be able to do T-shirts with all bits and pieces. And I'm hoping, let me just do this. Window show. No, it's not. It's a pain. All right, we'll do it this way. So, what do you think, people?
Pretty
What do you think?
flash. The new FBN logo. I like that, mate.
Okay. Yep, I think that'll look really good on a T-shirt, and then we can have the crew member on the back and whatever. So
Yeah.
for those who wish to go out and become crew members for Voice of Freedom and the FBN network, you may end up getting a shirt that has this on it.
Very
Along
flash
with the Voice of
indeed.
Freedom, along with the
Of
Voice
which
of
there is
Freedom
a
Carl head.
of which there is a new version too. Yeah. So we'll have a look at that. Maybe in a Voice of Freedom show one night this week, when the site is up and running properly. But there'll be all sorts of things you'll be able to practically get the logos printed on anything you want. It's just a matter of selecting it and putting in your details, and it'll turn up on your doorstep. So, looking forward to seeing whether or not we can develop a line of useful tools for people, not just a bit of shit. So fingers crossed. And if you've got something that you make here in Australia that you think would look great with, you know, a Voice of Freedom or an FBN logo on it, and we could help promote it and sell it through our website, then please reach out. Okay, Vince can help you with that. Vince at vofhq.com, and we'll be able to help you out promoting your business. I'm looking to promote anything that is Australian made. Anything. Well,
upon saying that, for our drop shipping person, I'm not guaranteeing they're Australian made. I can't, unfortunately.
Well, that's the thing. We've tried securing T-shirt manufacturers in Australia, and while I think there's 3, they are not competitive in any way, shape, or form, and they're not interested in becoming competitive. They now sort of market themselves as high-end kind of stuff, and I've got to admit I own one of these manufacturers' shirts, and I don't think they're very high-end at all. So it is what it is until we can get a shirt manufacturer and a printer that will play the game in Australia at a reasonable price. Then there's no point us trying to sell you a $20 T-shirt at $120. It's just a waste of time.
And that's all relative to when we can get manufacturing back in the country, which all involves with electricity, which is all involved with what we're all fighting against, saving this country and putting our infrastructure back into play. And I could go on and on and on and on. See, look, Carl's bored already. Didn't take long.
No, I was just thinking it's not just the infrastructure, it's the fact that they're building more and more data centers which require more and more water. It's going to place a much higher strain on our water resources in this country. So that is going to become one of the most significant issues we face in the future, because Australia only has 18 of these big AI data centers in it at the moment. But by the end of, I think I read the end of 2028, there'll be closer to 200 of them. And
because, think about this. Remember, I'm an IT guy. They are going to use thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of water to keep these data centers cool. But it's a flow-through effect. Right?
Well,
your initial filling of the tanks, right? Once that initial movement is gone, it's going to be a recirculated or a flow-through event. So as long as
there must be an evaporative effect, or there must be an evaporative effect.
Very minimal. Very minimal. No, it's not. That's not quite the way it works. It's the water takes the heat away through fins. It's like a radiator in a car. It's exactly the same as a radiator in the car. Right? So, and how often do you have to refill your car radiator?
Touch wood, not as often as some of the cars I've had in my life.
No, but if it's a bus, I know you fixed that.
We fixed that. Yes,
right, I'm going to get out of here. I'm keeping you talking, and everybody else is listening to us ramble on.
Yeah,
all I want to say, people, is stay safe. Have a great Australia Day today. Right, keep the faith. This country can be great again as long as we stand up and do it. And I personally don't give a crap what set of laws they put in. I don't consent to the last lot they put in, period. And if they want to come and lock me up, you know where to find me.
Wave goodbye.
Bye. Oh, hang on. Try that. Bye.
There you go. Vincenzo on his way. Thank you for joining us, folks. If you've been able to stick it out from go to woe, you've done bloody well. And we look forward to joining you again tomorrow night, because the boss has given me the night off tonight. A very, I think, fortuitous day for many people in Australia. Great result, I think, for the Sydney and Melbourne marches, even though there was opposition marches. Just goes to show where the trouble lies in this country. It wasn't with anybody who came out to wave the flag for Australia today. It came from the dickheads that would fight against it. Be safe, folks. If you're coming home from a rally that you've been to today, an Australia Day march, or just a day with friends and family, the dickheads will be on the roads coming home too. Some of them will be making it their last opportunity to get home before the kids go back to school tomorrow. God help us. So be safe on the roads. Avoid the dickheads. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!